Lost in space and time for over 10,000 years, on a mission they were never meant to return from. They have returned from the horrible secrets of space. They are the Comic Shop.
Uh-oh, someone's got it.
Hello and welcome to the Comic Shop does a podcast / makes a comic, the third issue. Thanks for joining us. If you're working along at home, just remember that when you're finished with your page, you can email it to us at pensandpedals at gmail.com, and that'll take that digital file and put it into our comic book to be printed. So
Yes.
if maybe you're watching this out of sequence and you're like, oh man, I missed it, I really want to do a page, guess what? You can work on it
Go for it.
out of sequence, like not with us here live. Just as long as you get us to us in the next couple weeks, we'll be able to put it in there.
We got a guest with us. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, hey, that's pretty good.
We
Look
got
at that artist
Dexter,
alley over there.
Alex Dexter, and then our producer there.
I'd wave, but like
Evan.
I'm trying to watch the stream on my phone of real life occurring, which is really settling
Who's
into
that?
the virtual reality, just nonsense of like there's several seconds of delay.
That's all right.
It's like
No,
what?
it's great. Like it really just adds a layer to tonight's theme.
It's like playing with a reverb pedal, where it's like, oh, here's the note, and then you get hit with three
there's
more.
Me from several seconds
go.
ago.
Yeah.
Given a thought, we'll do a little feedback loop here.
We've got Cayetano in on the Twitch chat
Awesome.
there, who did a page for us on the very first one, and we collabed on the cover of the second one. I just got to see some of his work yesterday for his comic book Rainbow Room. Absolutely incredible layouts, incredible style and ink work.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He's disgustingly good. Those pages were amazing. He's just sitting out there at the comic event and just drawing away, and just the pages he was coming up with, the character, just everything was just killer.
Top notch.
A lot of energy, a little bit of manga influence in some of his pages.
Yeah, and like a little old school animation put in there too. I feel like maybe a little bit of Fleischer Studios flavor. Just awesome stuff. Buy stuff from Cayetano, Black Rabbit Studios.
I have
You will not
sure.
regret. You will
And
not
I
regret it. Yeah.
Who's on Google Meet?
Yeah. Who do we have in Google Meet?
Give me a
I would
second.
love to have Cayetano on as a guest on Comic Shop. Does a podcast. You don't want to talk about a storyteller. We if he's down with it, I would do multiple. You know what I mean? Like he could easily do multiple.
We got
But I know he's a busy guy too.
Skylar, Aaron's wife, and who's that?
That's Abe. He did a
Abe.
piece for us about bullies at a pool last time around. Excellent work. I was very impressed with what he
Yes.
Is
Good
it-
one.
Is
Can
that?
we hear Abe?
He might be muted.
He's
just
muted
working.
right
He
now.
did have his camera on for a moment.
Oh my
we got Lucy
God.
on the stream. This is
Look
the
at
first Lucy appearance.
It's gonna be a tiny little box of
So
Lucy.
cute.
Lucy, you better be working on a page.
We'll
Should I-
see
In 5 minutes.
Should I
gonna say,
inflate
we'll
it?
see
Inflate it up?
Yeah. Oh look,
in
we
an
got
amount of time that confuses us. Yep. There we go.
Oh, we can't see it now.
we got a tentative confirmation from Cayetano
Okay.
to be on the show sometime. That's awesome.
Sweet.
All right, I gotta figure out what I'm doing.
Which, if you want to
Alternate realities.
you're more than welcome to use the phone to respond back to anybody.
There we go.
All inputs welcome. However
Yeah,
we can
easy.
solve it.
It's a family-friendly show.
Hey, I'm talking about like communication and mark making and all that stuff. It's why I like Microsoft Surface, because you can draw on the screen, you can use you can press the screen, you can use your keyboard, you can use a mouse, you can plug in another tablet.
I still want to get one.
I recommend it. Even the Surface Pro 4, which is less expensive now,
Yeah.
still a great machine.
I was
Yeah,
having-
any one of those are great.
having one of those crises the other day of, well, never gonna get a PS5. That's just not a reality. And Sarah's answer was, just get a new computer. And I was like, I don't want to spend that much money, but it's like I do.
It's
that-
it's worth it.
And if I
Dexter.
do something like a Surface, then I can just kind of, although maybe it doesn't suit every need. I don't think there's a piece of technology that currently exists that
If you-
suits all of the needs.
If
it's
you
a pretty good
it's got a good spread of of the percentage of needs, especially if you get I think I have a 7 Surface Pro. I have a 4 and a 7.
Yep.
But the 4, I mean, it would do everything I want. It's just that they improved the drawing,
Yeah.
and it's even more improved now with the 8. But they have a different form factor with the pen.
Okay.
Like the pen is better, but it's like a wide golf pencil now, which
Sure.
which is probably fine to work with, but it's just different than what I'm used to. So
Is it like a weight thing that, or is it more of like
it's more plasticky. The older
Okay.
one are metal, and I like that better. So I like the 7 because the drawing is great. But it's not as good as the next one. But I like the form factor of the pen better. And like we're getting to the point now with the drawing of tablets where it's like, how good does it need to be?
Sure.
It's like oh, this has 20,000 points of pressure.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, this
Like-
has 18,000 points of pressure.
Does it need so much DPI that we're like, oh, it's like carrying around your own personal Wacom.
Well, it essentially is already. But it's like, do I need to have Pixar in my pocket, or
Sure.
can I just be happy with, Clip Studio or Photoshop or whatever?
Caetano says he has a Surface Pro and just started messing with it again.
Yeah, Surface Pro 4, man. Like I had that for a really long time. That's what I got my wife too for Christmas a while ago. Got her one of the 4s. The only difference between like the 4 and the later ones is like it has tilt starting with the 6th generation of Surface Pro, which is just a very small thing, and you can do just as good artwork without the tilt functionality. You just have to change the brush for what you want to do.
Gotcha.
But I'm a snob, I guess. And it's like, oh, tilt is a big jump. It's a bigger jump than like, this is just slightly better.
Mm-hmm.
And they complain about there's a complaint with Surface Pro 4 that when you're drawing with lines, there's a bit of a jitter if you want to do very clean lines.
Sure.
But the thing with that is there's a program called Lazy Nizumi. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it plugs into your drawing software, and it's a line stabilizer.
Okay.
And Clip Studio, Photoshop, Affinity, Photo, all those things also now have line stabilizers all built into them, too. So there's many different ways to address it.
Sarah was talking to our friend Liz. Was it Thursday? Because they had got their daughter a tablet to fiddle around with.
Yeah.
So she was like, we downloaded Clip Studio
Oh, the best.
and like some other just like the free drawing stuff that's really solid.
Yeah.
She's like, I cannot for the life of me draw a straight line. Only to find out that it's like nobody can really draw a straight line. You just have to turn the smoothing features on to accurately like mimic your art style more or less.
Yes. It's wild, the technology that people have nowadays. I remember there was I don't know what it was called, but it was a drawing tablet you could hook up to your TV, and you could draw on it, and you would have to use your VCR and an empty cassette tape to record your drawings.
What on earth are you even talking about? I half caught that because I'm trying to focus, and that doesn't make any
It's
sense.
like it sounds like you're talking about like the technology time frame when like the 3DO was like the hot item.
Yeah, it was basically like Mario Paint without the Mario.
What a great introduction to just like fiddling around with a computer without knowing about it, and like drawing was like playing around on Mario Paint as a kid. It's like here you go. You can essentially use MS Paint with some stickers.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I bought this collection of this comic book that came out in the early 80s. It came out around the same time as the first Macintosh computers. It's called Shatter. I was talking with Evan about this a little bit. Mike Saints is the artist who did it. It's the first entirely digitally drawn and lettered comic.
Okay.
And it's been out of print for a long, long time. Oh, hey, we got Evan in there. Oh, my goodness. All the feedback. So much feedback.
Let's get it all.
But there's a dude in the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats group who has a Macintosh emulator, and I guess there was an early Macintosh program called Comic Strip Creator. and he's using his computer and the Macintosh emulator and is making illustrations and comic strips and stuff using that old. I don't even know how many bits it is,
Sure.
but it's cool.
Sounds fun.
It's pretty cool. I'm impressed with him. That's something that I've always wanted to do because like I grew up using like the Apple IIe
Yeah.
like drawing software or Print Studio or Print Shop 2.0. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
where the pixels are super big, but you can draw a little bit. And
I was a computer club kid when I was coming through school, so like I'm familiar with some like the wacky old stuff that was kicking around.
it's just like I want that again to see what I can do with it now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just because I don't know that retro tech style is something I'm interested in.
What's Skylar working on?
That's a good question. What is Skylar working on? I know it's pretty early on. We're 20 minutes in.
So we're going to what? Like, are we going the 3 hours, or
We
just
can.
going until
We can.
everybody peters out, or
Well,
both?
it depends. I'm just setting up my grid. I'm just doing a 9-panel grid right now. But I also have. This is also kind of silly because I also have a giant book entirely of comic layouts that I could just roll into
Mm-hmm.
at any time. I gotta figure out what I'm doing. I have a few different ideas for what I might do. I was thinking about doing Loose in the Toot, which is my daughter and my dog as
Okay.
in a buddy cop.
Which Tootsie, I love the premise of Tootsie is driving the car and she's riding shotgun in the baby seat.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds more like a poster, but maybe that's fine. Maybe I just do a poster.
Did Skylar say what he was working on?
I'm drawing a snowstorm with whiteout. Yes, Mrs. Lee.
I'm drawing a bird from memory, and it's not going bad, but it's certainly not going great because I can't remember how the bottom of a beak works. So I'm just winging it.
Just a
What
triangle
you
with
do
a
when
line
you
in the
draw a
middle.
bird? You wing
Yeah.
it.
Hey.
Thank you,
Oh
big girl.
man,
Thank
yes.
This bird has weird proportions. He's almost like a man.
Evan's sister often consults him for joke writing. When she can't figure out jokes.
you. No, well, sometimes it's true. She knows how to write a joke though. But I watched the Super Bowl and I didn't see her ad.
I didn't. I thought for like a brief second we were gonna see it when they had the scientist lady there that I'm forgetting her name.
Mayim Balak or something?
No. Like not like pop culture scientist, but like real like did founding stuff on old punch card
Oh.
scientist.
Like the old computers.
Oh yeah. I should know it because she's fairly famous, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's my distinct lack of like how much I was really paying attention to the early parts of the Superb Owl.
I didn't watch it at all.
I watched it because I went over to a friend's house to hang out, and they were having some food, and that was kind of what was on the TV.
There you go.
I was at Lowe's. Shout out
Were
to
you really?
Lowe's. Yeah.
Shout out to Lowe's.
I
Great
did
place.
watch the Doctor Strange trailer though.
Yeah, that popping on was pretty cool.
We watched it on the stream.
Yeah.
What's Abe working on?
Let's see. We might only be able to see them chat through. Is anybody chatting through the Google Meet?
I signed on to it, but I can't see any chat. Now I'm afraid to mess with it because I don't want big feedback.
Hello, it's Skylar. I'm here.
I'm here to lurk.
I'm doing something the same.
Maybe something similar to his previous work. Then is
Yeah.
what Abe's doing. Little autobiographical comics.
Actually, I do think his father said he was going to do something like he figured out like a sequel.
Ooh, yeah.
Here's
cool.
my strong bird.
Oh, strong. Is Strongbird a character? I love it. That reminds me of. Do you remember the Grant Morrison X-Men run when Mark Silvestri jumped on as artist,
Briefly, yeah.
and they had like Beak's
definitely-
like grandson,
Oh,
but he was
yeah.
it was like Strongbird. They had some good weird stuff in that run.
We'll go to a new page. I've run out of steam on Strongbird for the time being.
Yeah, I pulled up my Colossus drawing I did yesterday at Comics and Coffee.
Oh, I see that.
just to give some people some finished eye candy as they're working
Yeah.
through here. I'll just get some erasing done while I'm thinking. I might even just go into like automatic comics and just like goof around.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that, Aaron. It's
Why?
against the rules.
To just like draw whatever
Yes.
and just make it into a thing.
Can't
Mama
do it.
Lee says, "Aaron, are you drawing a snowstorm whiteout?"
Yes. You know, actually,
This is from a hot minute ago because my chat is behind. So, but either way,
yeah, on Cartoonist Kayfabe, they talked about a John Byrne issue of Alpha Flight where Snowbird actually like gets into a fight in a blizzard.
Very famous way to cheat.
Yeah. I kind of love it though. Look at that. That Colossus might need some color at some point. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of these like single character sketches, and that'll be my con thing. I'll feel okay selling these original sketches.
yeah, maybe that's your way in.
Yeah, because it's original art. It's not just a print. But it's all about drawing them in, and then you're like, hey, if you like Colossus, you might like another shiny metal character, Leslie the Robot.
Who's that?
Who is that?
It's a radio station come to life with the desire to dance.
Sounds dangerous.
A little bit. If you hit them, you know, it might not work out great. But friendly otherwise. But you don't want to mess with a giant hulking robot. Oh, look at your layouts, Lucas. You're going nuts over there.
Trying to.
Let's see. You know what? I might even just goof around in one of these layouts and see what I can do. There's a lot of stuff. Just some like golden age layouts. Double page spread. It would be interesting to use one of these books and actually like do a real story in here with the layouts that they have.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. I'm trying to find some with like a lot of big panels.
Hey!
Got someone here.
Did we get somebody in there?
It's Navi yelling at me because I still haven't remembered to, when I'm doing streaming things, turn my phone off
Mm.
so that my alerts don't just scream at everybody.
Hey, can you pull up the OBS just for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that this is in the. Okay, that's not too bad, right?
No, it looks good.
Yeah, this page is kind of a Gene Colan layout, so I'm gonna fiddle with this. Guys are quiet over there. Working
Because
hard.
I'm in the middle of this from memory Wesley doodle.
Oh yeah. There, his oscillator kind of became a mustache.
I just like the idea of a character oscillator mustache now. Like, that's a character.
Maybe that's a villain. The oscillator mustache. Let me write that down.
John says, "Hey gang, hey John."
Is it Jonathan Ashline?
Yes.
Hey John. The highly successful Kickstarter entrepreneur,
Mhm.
Jonathan Ashline.
Of which you did some art for.
I did.
His project.
I did. Did you see it? Did he share it with you?
No, I haven't seen it.
Keeping it on the DL, because usually I want to share everything, but sometimes you just gotta let it simmer.
Simma.
I guess so. Maybe you don't, but I don't know. That's what I'm doing.
Hey, it will come out at some point in the future.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll let him be the one who decides when to reveal it, because it is his thing. I think that makes sense.
So I just backed a Kickstarter that's doing well for a Frank Booth compendium.
Frank Booth. I'm not.
He's
Sounds familiar.
a very old timey pen and ink artist.
Ooh.
I'll have to show you some of the stuff that they've spoiled so far from it before we take off for the evening. But he's one of those artists that I was turned on to because of Frank Cho, because it was like one of the people that when Frank was coming up and like developing his pen style.
Mhm.
Like he would look at the old masters like Frank Booth, and like I'm trying to remember some of the other people that he like studied. Obviously, couldn't study under because I think Frank Booth died in like 1948.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't even know he was sick.
Yeah, you know, maybe it was the Spanish flu.
It could be. Well, the Spanish flu was
It was
kind of
like
17, 18,
18,
because
yeah.
that's when Egon Schiele died,
Hmm.
because he was a victim of the Spanish flu.
I think it was mostly just that he was old because like his I saw some of the blurbs about like his life. He's like, yeah, he was born in 1840 something. Like, oh, what? No,
Yeah, there's a
couldn't
lot
have
of
been that long.
those artists that like late 1800s, early 1900s pen and ink artists are
Mhm.
just nuts with like a crow quill pen.
Yep.
A lot of good stuff.
I had wanted to find some of his work before, but when I had gone searching around the various corners of the internet, it's not a findable thing. Like there were some
Here's some-
pieces put together in like the 80s that you can find that are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Oh, here's some. I found some Frank Booth stuff to pull up.
There you go.
It's highly detailed pen and ink drawings. Not the character that Dennis Hopper played from Blue Velvet.
No.
Oh, and there's a Frank Cho related image too. Like a little black widow with an angel of death in there.
Hmm.
Engravings, man, what a tedious art form.
Oh yeah.
Whew. Much respect.
Let's see. Maybe I box in a couple little TVs here and start trying to figure out what some little cover art things will look like. I don't know if I have enough steam to do a page itself. I think I can convert some doodles and other things into something.
Well, you could even take it like, let's say you do like 6 drawings, you can just put them into a 6-panel grid.
That's
They don't need to necessarily be connected.
And for this, it makes even more little sense. Just one panel of a guy going, I think.
Yeah, actually, there's this guy Don Simpson, Dandy Don Simpson, who,
Dirty Don Simpson.
well, maybe in some regards.
Love Don Simpson.
What was I saying? He is doing the conclusion to the 1963 comic book that he did with Stephen Bissett and Rick Veitch and John Totleben, Alan Moore. That image book that was like a satire of the 1960s
Is it
Marvel.
really following up on that like 30 years later?
Well, Don Simpson owns part of it, and what he's doing is he's doing like an alternate reality conclusion of it. Like the characters that he owns, he's just using, but all the other characters, he's creating like an analog character, like a parody character of all of them. So he's doing his own conclusion. The cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats group is doing their own conclusion.
Okay.
So this the story that just kind of ended on a cliffhanger 30 years ago is now going to have multiple conclusions.
That's fun.
Yeah.
There's some things that I've read in the last handful of years, or when I was like starting to get into comics, that I really hope that someday somebody just decides to pick it back up. You know, if it's to make a conclusion or to just maybe give a ceremonious sunset to a story.
Yeah, I am starting to adhere more to the philosophy of complete the story, complete the thought, because there's so much that goes on in contemporary comics where it's like, okay, here's my story, but it's going to span 12 issues.
Yep.
And it's so decompressed that it's like, maybe you could get that done a little bit quicker. Or even there's some people I respect a lot that literally do like, here's one page, I'm going to tell a complete story one page.
Yep.
And I respect that a lot too, because I feel like a lot of times like you get into a story and then it's like, okay, where's the rest of it? And maybe that never comes out. Maybe you miss pieces of it. And I don't know. I just want people to have that like whole satisfying meal. You know?
Well, and it's like good for you, the artist, as well. Like,
Yeah.
you get to finish your thought
And there's
and share it with everybody.
and there's so many ideas. Like, why not complete your idea so you can do the next idea? Well, these are my inner thoughts I have all the time.
And this is your platform to share them.
Yeah. If you're looking for somebody who can talk, for better or worse, I can do that.
I'm gonna try and doodle some like 1980s TVs in hopes that I can reproduce the TV I had from my childhood.
There you go.
But I gotta get there. Some big old chunky dials on the side here. I was so thrilled when I got my first TV. It was the old TV from the living room, like a 13-inch TV with like the wood framing around it still.
Oh yeah.
Some good old UHF connectors on the back.
I had a DVD, or not DVD, not even DVD, VHS combo TV.
There you go.
It must have been from like 98? 98 sounds right.
I would believe that.
I had Blade on VHS,
Did it get-
X-Men on
Did it
VHS.
get lodged in there like many of those poor TVs?
No, I think it still worked when I got rid of it.
Okay. That was one of the things that I remember from like the early days of those VCR TVs coming out was like just stuff getting lodged in there. So it's like you can either choose to damage it so much to try and get it out and try and put another one in to get it stuck, or forever that's just the TV that plays that VHS.
When I drove one of my old cars to the junkyard, and I think I left a CD in it. I can't remember what it was now, but I remember at the time I was distraught because it was one that I liked, clearly because I was listening to it. But I can't remember it now, so I clearly am over it.
It was a big moment in time though, like your favorite cassette tape or
Oh yeah, I found
CD, or like before we got into the part where you could just burn whatever you wanted, because that was, although I know a number of people who would have been just incredibly sad to lose their like 1 through 50 alt rock from the 90s CD collections.
Yeah, well, when I did a radio show, I used to put together mixes for the radio show, and I would have my A CD and my B CD, so that way I could transition from song to song, and I would also have my own music to play as bumpers.
There you
And just have it. I have those somewhere, but like if I lost those, that would be a little bit sad because there's some pretty good mixes on there. Because I would do like an indie show, and like sometimes I would program a very chill show.
Okay.
It'd be like a lot of Moby or Air or
I feel like I would have listened to your radio show if I had been listening. What were you on? You were on W.
I was at WETD was the first one I did, which was at Alfred State,
Okay.
and then I did
So WETID was Every Time I Die radio?
no
It can't be
WETD
Every Time I Die
ETD.
Radio.
I know, they broke up.
It was the Frog. I don't know why it was the
The
Frog.
Frog.
But and then I was at a semester at Potsdam, which was awesome. That was the only radio station I've ever worked for that had 2 turntables. So I did shows off of turntables. Well, I wasn't mixing and scratching, but
Should.
What a like I wonder if there.
and then WNYO here in Oswego.
That's the one that I was thinking of, because the Oswego one was WNYO.
Which I don't even know if they have an indie show anymore. Whenever I tune into it, it seems like it's just like another top 40 station now,
I'm
which is a little
sure.
sad.
Aaron and I have talked about this. I wish we could do some kind of music-related podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't have to.
We can.
Without playing music, like, it just defeats the purpose.
We
Yeah.
can. It just turns into like, what do you guys want to make?
There's this guy that on Twitch that all he does is make music. He'll just stream
Like,
and just
Oh, yeah.
make music.
Oh, I
You
follow
got-
tons of people on Instagram that with gear. Oh, there's so many people who make amazing stuff.
you guys already talk about the kinds of things that you like to do at home. It just makes it so you have to have a little more setup here, and you just do that. Like that's just a stream.
You can ask my wife. I don't know if listening to me make a track is the best.
I know.
Because there's lots of bad before it sounds good.
Well, I know that. Like, it's an experimental process to find the sound that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like sound palette hunting a lot of the time. It's just like, is this the sound I'm looking for? Is this the sound I'm looking for? Is this the sound I'm looking for?
Well, like, is the stream idea not so much that you're trying to make a track, and more that maybe you're trying to make fun sounds than like it's a progressive thing. So like maybe one week, like you find a couple of sounds that like you really want to make that into a beat, and then I don't know, like
It could be.
just sounds like a fun experience to
Maybe. Maybe we'll build into that.
Very nice lady.
see.
Oh, jeez.
Evan's got it. Like, you need a little bit of soundboard, and it can be the comic shop makes a podcast, does a beat
I,
ad nauseum.
I need some help here.
Okay. Oh, look at you go, man. That's looking good.
I'm debating on how I should end it. So I think I would just want to have one more panel,
Okay.
but I don't because it's so far.
You
it's
need lots of bling. Maybe
me
a hot
going
tub.
into the comic shop with
Okay.
a caption or a bubble saying maybe Evan will give me a job.
You're getting there.
I walk in, that's him at the counter. Can I have a job? And that's Evan's face. No. And so I don't know.
Oh, God. Oh, he's doing it.
So I don't know. What is happening?
The comic shop makes a podcast, does a comic 3 with beats.
This is tough to do live, actually. We're gonna.
Can we get some hats in there?
Yeah, that's what I was working
See,
on.
this is a mineable idea right here. Like,
It's just the chaos comic shop hour.
I mean, that's where my brain goes. Like, I would,
Ooh.
I would watch the comic shop's variety hour, which we're pretty close to right now. Like, some meandering conversation. Now Evan's making a beat. We're all drawing a little bit.
Ooh,
Okay.
That's a good one.
Aaron.
Yeah.
So how should I end it? Should I have it be either the comic shop is like doing amazing? Maybe have like, I don't know, some dialogue between Evan and Martin. Evan saying we're opening up another comic shop or doing that good.
You got to go bigger than that.
Or
I think.
or I'm thinking maybe I should draw the comic shop, and then I think it's the first Superman. Evan, cut it out for a second.
No,
No, I can hear you, Lucas.
no.
I barely can hear myself.
You gotta yell. You don't have to yell.
So I'm thinking maybe I should have the comic shop like get destroyed or something, and then have Evan be like, oh, if only I hired
John's
Lucas,
enjoying it.
would the comic shop still be around?
That might be a better.
Is it? I think it's more funnier, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, just
And-
have,
and
like-
it'll be easier to draw too, because it would just be like Evan and Martin and like rubble. You know what I mean?
Right.
Easier to draw some rubble.
And then I want to pull up a picture. I'll pull it up on here. I think it's Superman #1. #1. Images. Yeah. I want to do this type of face for Evan. Aaron. Oh no, hold on.
Of him as Superman.
No. Like that.
Oh,
and
there
then
you go.
and then have the comic
Classic.
shop be like in flames or like just something like insane. Maybe like it gets like abducted by an alien or something. I don't know, something like
Okay.
total. What do you think?
You could, yeah. Why not? You could do
Okay.
some aliens. Is that some chorus there? Is that doubled up notes?
I'm trying to get us to a point where this TV that's on a stand is showing what you
Ooh.
guys were doing the other day.
I like that a lot.
That's good.
She is a very nice lady. Shout out to nice ladies.
Nice ladies
Very
everywhere.
nice lady.
Don't forget to get that shout out ding.
We
It's an
should.
important button.
I don't know where my shout out ding is.
Can we do like a vocoder effect on the Lucas sample
John
too?
says, does Lucas mean Action Comics #1?
Yes, that's what I mean.
My only gripe about the Remarkable 2
Mhm.
is that the only thing that I can export it as is a PDF or PNG. No,
PNG?
It might be an SVG. Either way, it's two like usable formats.
Mhm.
But like that's all I get.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, then you can kind of bring it into.
You can, yeah. I mean, you can alter it elsewhere or like depending on however you guys do the layout. I gotta collect my bits. I'm at
Well-
18,000.
I mean, I use InDesign to put together
Okay,
these, so PNG or PDF will work just fine.
sure.
What else is going on out there?
Got some-
In
Hey, have you got
PDFs.
anything exciting?
Maybe we'd have to switch back over to the. Google Meet to see.
Let's see.
Google Meet.
Skylar said, I just finished my piece. I won't be able to get in until Thursday at the earliest. Will that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
That's fine.
fine.
I think we could probably even do a couple weeks. Just email it to pensandpedals@gmail.com.
Spell pedals.
PEDALS. Like a guitar pedal or a bicycle pedal, not a flower pedal. Sorry, flowers.
I'm not sorry to flowers.
So quiet now without those beats.
Well, now I'm like, I don't know how much further I want to go into my drawing, but that's my.
What were we doing last week?
No, just the when you were at the Mercantile.
Oh, yeah, that was just yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, technically last week.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's
Confuse us with your.
on the
Big
mighty
changing.
day of yesterday.
I sold a single book. Well, one of my originals, at least. But it was good networking, though. I did enjoy the event.
It was good networking, even though the sales were kind of a dud.
Well, I think they're building consistency in that event, right? Isn't that? That's kind of what they're doing. It was cool that they put something on too in Syracuse. So I think there's some people working very hard in Syracuse to create a scene, to create something, and they've been doing that for a long time. Like Michael John Hegarty was one of the people who coordinated that, and he's like the event guy in Syracuse. He's been making things happen for over 10 years out there. And Funky Town Comics, I guess, is a new shop starting.
That's what I'm working on.
Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Very Weapon X. Okay. Yeah, look at your panel, man. You're killing it.
Thanks, man.
I like the animation to that. It's not easy to do.
Could I borrow some of your pens?
No, you cannot borrow my
Can
pens.
you-
No, I'm just kidding.
How about some pedals?
I don't actually. I have a criminal amount of no pedals. Actually, I should get some pedals. Would that be my name? What are you looking for? You want some black ones? You want some gray ones? You want some blue ones? You want a Sharpie?
Black with a brush tip, maybe? I'm just gonna
Let's see
experiment
what
my
this does.
sketchpad because I don't.
Caetano says the space is so new, they're trying to get it to be known, so many folks are just discovering
John
it.
wants to join.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Ooh.
show off my stuff's on camera.
Oh, you'd have to throw it down over the top of my stuff.
Can I throw it down for a second? So this is what I'm working on. Is just a 6-panel of a. Is that hard to see? Can you really see that or no? Oh well, a 6-panel of a politician lying to you, and then I do it in kind of
It's not
a
autofocus.
Weapon
There we go.
X, little bubble tube at the end.
Evan, you want to see my drawing of you?
It's very matrixy.
Very good.
I've decided aliens are going to take over the comic shop
They should, man.
because
I'm
you
kinda
didn't hire me.
over it.
It's like Mars Attacks type stuff. I've been somewhat interested in watching Mars Attacks again.
It's
Do it for the
still
podcast.
Oh, this is a new sketchbook.
Sam Keith did
It only has
a.
one drawing in there that I ended up scanning and sending it to Aaron. Did a little Wesley and Barnaby Death Castle.
Oh yeah, Barnaby Death Castle. Oh, he has a major part in Wesley 9. I'm referencing a lot of film. There's a fight that takes place between Barnaby Death Castle and Wesley in an old school video store with VHSs and DVDs. Very excited about that.
What the heck was that?
Maybe is it
It's somebody on the Google.
it's coming from the meat? Is it
Must have been
Jonathan?
John.
Ooh, this is. I don't know if I can use this.
Why?
This is very.
Political?
Oh no, I'm just saying the.
Oh, the control of it?
Yeah. It's very
Uh-oh.
fun. It's very fast.
Our call ends in 9 minutes.
So what do we do with that? Can we just
We
exit and then have everybody come back in?
We could try
Boy,
that.
that's a pain.
Yeah, but even Zoom does that now because they want their money.
They want the money.
It's disappointing.
Yeah,
Inevitable, but disappointing.
like this is the way around it. There we go. I'm starting to figure out this drawing here. Man, they weren't kidding when they said babies are hard to draw.
Just draw
There's a few famous comic artists out there. I can't think of any names. That
draw
like,
a baby that's also a car.
Norman Rockwell?
yeah, where all of their babies just look like very small, deformed people.
Yeah. I can see that. I'm thinking of like Todd McFarlane or something.
Todd McFarlane doesn't draw great women either.
No. It's
He kind of has his things that he's good at and these things that he struggles with.
it's kind of wild. Like, I mean, he is very good at some things, but it's just wild how successful he was with like such a limited skill set. You know what I mean?
This is what I'm working on.
Ooh, got some stuff coming up.
Yeah, let's. That looks good, man.
Ooh, get to navigate microphone land.
You can just push it.
Hey,
You can just push it. Oh, that was not a good
Or
noise.
you could even hold up your artwork to that camera that's facing you guys too.
Yeah, he could have just done
I just
that.
think
After
they're
all
more
that.
ridiculous.
You can just say these.
I
Are
know.
Comics and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, the space is new. I think people are just kind of wandering in and curious about it, and the fact that we had comics, like some people came out for that, but yeah, like that classic TV. It's looking good.
I'm not going to do that. I went back. I'm sure it looked hysterical. But I'm not that limber.
Should I put Lowe's in my page?
I mean, you shill for it every week. You might as well do it in the comic.
Your Lowe's overlords will be pleased.
I'm going to round this table out a little better. The wrap around the back was quite right. I suppose we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if maybe I can get a doily or something in there, because that seems like the kind of thing that at your grandparents' house
Oh yeah.
you'd go over and the TV is sitting on the weird lace doily. As though the electronic television needed to be put on display.
Ooh, I'm liking where this is going.
Yeah.
It's starting to come together a little bit, I think.
Tighten some of these pencil lines up a little bit here.
Evan,
How long are we into? 1 hour.
will you be mad at me if I put Lowe's in my
No.
comic?
Why would I do that?
I don't know.
Does Lowe's exist in this alternate?
It's your comic, bro. Your comic page could be like every favorite corporate thing that you like, but oh, you got to draw it from memory. No references. Draw all of your favorite corporate logos.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost its own dystopian future right there. It's like, I don't know.
I could do New Balance because I've drawn that logo enough.
I could do Nike poorly because it's a very particular angular swoosh.
Oh, yeah, I could do Nike because I've had a lot of students be like, "How do I draw the Nike swoosh?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a thing you have to be brave to draw. You cannot be precious with it. You just got to go. You just got to do that with your whole arm."
Mm-hmm.
And then I show them, and then they're like, "Whoa." They're very impressed.
I don't know how much I want to tighten the pencils up on this.
And sometimes looseness is good.
I might hit them a little more bold or something, but at least for this drawing, it feels better cut in rough. I could always go with the funny Drawfee meme of delete your art. Just get this far out and just delete the whole thing.
Oh, what's even more heartbreaking is when stuff crashes. Like I'll be like inking or drawing something, and then sometimes Clip Studio will crash, or Procreate will crash, or Fresco will crash, and it'll go back to the last save point, and it's like, like I don't have to start from scratch, but like my brain is just like a catacomb of like unfinished projects and like percentages of completedness, and so even when I lose like a piece of something, it's like, it's like gonna take me that much longer to do now.
Yep.
Because I have one of these brains where it's like, I'm not working on just this piece. Like, my brain is also thinking about, like, the next 10, 15 pieces.
Oh, yeah. No, the disheartening feeling of having to, like, redo something.
Yeah. But usually, like, if that does happen, the second time it does turn out better, though.
Yeah, well, you get to work out the kinks that, like you know that, to make this line, like, the first time I did it, like, now I can do it the better way.
Yes. I went through all that trouble to draw my grids, and then I just opened this book, and I'm drawing in this now instead.
So those come with the grids in them already.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was going to say, that's a very funky layout. Did Caetano influence you at all with what you saw with his layouts? But then it's just pre-constructed funky grids.
Oh, yes. It's purchased from Barnes & Noble. Yeah, only $10 this whole thing. It would be an interesting experiment to do a story in one of these grids that exists already.
Oh, I forgot that I can just switch to the fine liner at white. Yup. That's what it needed.
I think
Wanna-
I'm done.
Yeah.
I want to remake it though.
Okay.
And redesign
You
the
got a
panel.
plan, and then you're gonna dig in, or you're gonna clean up those speech bubbles.
Yeah, well, I'll probably do that in like Photoshop or something.
All right, that's allowed.
Is it?
Is it not allowed? Are there rules to this?
No. Just keep it all ages friendly.
What do you mean?
That's the only rule.
Well, the only reason I do in Photoshop is to add text.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to look at it? says 1 year later, after Evan said no to me asking
Uh-huh.
for a job,
Uh-huh.
and the aliens say we're here to invade the so-called comic shop. Evan says no, and then meanwhile at Lowe's,
What does it say?
it just says no. Meanwhile at Lowe's, we're here to invade Lowe's, and that's me, and I say too bad I have anti-alien spray. Spray them.
The old Batman shark spray.
Is it?
Yeah, that's great.
It's very stupid.
Sometimes that works though. What is it? Conan O'Brien talks about he wants like very silly things next to very smart things, and they just very rarely it works, but it's worth trying.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's how I try. If I try to write something funny, that's what I try to do. Is just take like
Yeah.
what's. Oh, did our meeting die?
Yep. Let's try it.
You start a new one.
Oh,
Can we enter the
what an
code though?
unfortunate end to
Does it need to be the
his-
same code?
his late night career.
Okay.
He's gonna be coming back and doing something.
I hope.
He has a podcast now.
Yeah, his podcast is awesome. I like listening
I
to that a
haven't
lot.
heard his podcast.
Should I put the code in the chat for the people?
Sure. If you
Yeah.
get a new one,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe post it on Facebook too.
yeah.
What do you think, Kevin? What is this? How's this TV drawing?
Let me send the
I think it
link
was great.
Am
actually.
I overworking it?
No.
Okay.
I think that's really fun.
It needs some background life. I don't know what. See, and if I were a better planner and more felt more confident in my skills to not ruin what I already have, I would draw the scene that's in the TV behind. Although maybe I can just cheat that. Let's see what it looks like.
It's not a crime to go more symbolic either. Like a lot of time that works better.
I'm almost wondering because I can copy things if I take the internal part of the screen and just blow it up and smush it into the background.
Did you post the code on Facebook at all?
No,
Because Abe's dad just messaged me and said the stream ended, so I want to send him the new code.
I don't. I'm not logged into Facebook here. I don't think.
Well, will auto log in from this particular computer?
Nope.
No.
Auto logs.
No,
in.
it's
Oh
not.
wait, I can. No. I can post it from my Facebook
I was
actually.
gonna say it should have my Facebook on there. You can post it from mine.
I have mine. It's taking forever though.
Copied to clipboard.
Oh my gosh. Comic shop. Pre-post. This is the new Google. Oopsie.
Nope,
Google Meet
that's not quite right.
link.
I need a new layer.
Some people are asking to get in already, right? Isn't that what that little ding dong means?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Who we gonna let back in? Ooh, Melissa de
Melissa.
Stevens, Valenzuela. Excellent.
Awesome.
I wonder. Hey, Caetano, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, just I'm drawing my daughter and my dog as a buddy cop duo.
Did you put it on Facebook?
Nice.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna copy it to send it to Abe.
Since he
How
just
does
drives around with a bone sticking out of her mouth like a cigar.
What's up, Gaetano?
Oh, not too much. I'm just over here. I'm working on my comic, and I was just listening to you guys chat, and then I was like, "Oh, there's like a Google Meet thing too."
Yeah, yeah. We're piloting a lot of new stuff this time
Oh,
around.
right on. Where you guys? Are you guys over at the shop right now?
Yep.
Oh, right on.
So it's like double dipping. We're doing the comic shop makes a podcast, and the comic shop makes a comic book all
Oh,
at
right
the
on.
same time.
And the comic shop starts a band, right?
Yeah. We're doing that too. We just started a group called the Comic Shop Boys. It'll be like the Pet Shop Boys, but not quite.
I want to rotate. I'll move it.
So what's everybody working with? Materials wise.
I've got like my utility belt of pens and pencils, but I'm just using the old Bic. This is
Oh.
0.9. Oh, I didn't know I had a 0.9.
A
I like the
ballpoint?
0.9.
I'm on a 0.3 right now.
Well, it's just
0.35.
it's just a mechanical pencil.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Evan's using a 0.3 micron.
I was inspired by his Micron use yesterday because I saw him. He had the Micron on his necklace.
Yeah. How's that
Alright.
work?
And I am using a not really drawing
I saw the
tablet.
Micron. I saw the Micron.
Oh yeah, those microns are great.
One of these days I might reintroduce microns. I just like the bigger,
Hey,
fatter
hold yours
brush.
up. What are you working on?
Who are you talking to right now?
No, Abe. There's a young fellow with us.
Oh, right on.
A very talented young artist.
Got a little bit of a head start.
You have to hold it down. Lift it up. Can they see it?
Dirty inks, man.
Wow.
It's not even, Abe. You gotta. You can't. They
I
can't.
can't
They
see
can't
the
see it. I know.
camera.
I'm holding it for you. They can't see it. Hold on. Where's the camera? My hand.
There we go.
I can't.
We can-
Trying to get it lined up
we
for
can-
it.
we can see
Hold
the-
on,
we
we're
can see-
working.
Now we can see the whole page.
We got a little head start earlier today. He started this morning. What do you got? Can you guys see it or no?
Yeah.
I-
Noi Boy plays Oculus. That sounds awesome.
The Noi Boy sequel. We love it.
And it ties right into the imagery of the cover too. Oh, hey, Evan would like to join us.
That's a negative.
Come on.
All right.
Okay, let's see if my layers actually work here. There we go. It's getting a little sluggish. It doesn't like how much I'm doing on this here fiddling around tablet.
The remarkable.
Yeah. She's getting a little slow as I'm trying to blow up an image to lay in and change layers.
It's
It's not bad to one big and bold though.
If
You want to switch it up?
I'm trying to see. Hmm. Let's getting into the fiddly part where I'm not being chatty because I'm focused on I'm getting audio feed. What am I? I'm hearing myself. Yeah.
I don't know. Double.
I don't know.
Bass.
It's all about that bass.
Yes.
Yes.
No treble. I think it might be time to abandon the one idea here because it's putting the hurt on the processing of this horrible tablet.
Just
Just keep all of them. Put them all into a grid.
Well, I'm gonna keep it, but like, so I took the one image and I blew it up in the background, but like it's making it chug so hard, and I tried to like organize the layers so that I could push it into the background, but like in doing so, it's now just like Oh boy, you're trying to do a little bit too much right now.
Just work big and chunky. That's my suggestion.
That's gonna be next. I just need to get this second layer out of there because it's doing a number. Come on. Okay. Turbo and some kind of big truck. Oh, I'm getting a little more responsive.
Yeah, why was somebody hearing you?
I don't know. A mic in the room is picking up my voice and rebroadcasting it in some kind of speaker over there. I don't know if it's because of the Google Meet or I'm hearing it through like a set of headphones.
I feel like it's maybe coming through the headphones. I think it's coming from the Google Meet. Is it?
Yes.
Ah,
Because you weren't
there we
muted.
go. See, this is all the stuff that we just have to do, and then we know.
Somebody says mute the call. Good advice.
Yeah.
Oh, are we? Is it done chugging around here? Am I gonna get a chance to maybe execute my idea still?
And I don't think it was that big of a hiccup to re-invite people either. That went quite well, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, nope.
Yeah, so I'm just learning Clip Studio Paint,
Yeah.
and so I'm actually just kind of fiddling with it right now.
What's that?
Can you switch it over to
And I've had it for a while, but I've never messed with it really.
Yeah.
But the
I
way you're able to
I got
create
asked for
panels
Like,
and
it
gutters
Was, it
and
was
stuff.
a totally solid idea, and I burned like
Yeah, it's pretty
so
wild.
minutes
I haven't
just trying to
experimented
get
too
back
much
to
with
Don't want to lose this.
with the grid setup in there, but I know it's quite powerful. I played around with the speech bubbles too. You can do some cool stuff with that.
Oh yeah, I barely started to mess with that a little bit, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, like inside Clip Studio, you can export PDFs for print and stuff too. So you literally can do everything you would need to do all inside Clip Studio.
Well, that's kind of the thing. I was actually just trying to import some line work, but every time I went to import it, it made it kind of like weirdly pixelated. I think because it's going from like a 300 DPI to a 600 DPI, but they're large, they're huge files in Photoshop.
Yeah.
So it just does something weird to the line work. So I'm just like, I know there's a way to fix it. I just don't know what it is.
Huh. I mean, Photoshop and Clip, like if you're using PSD files, they're pretty interchangeable. I'm not sure what would be.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought, but it just made like a weird. It's almost like gave it like a weird newspaper sort of texture. And I'm just like, that's kind of a cool texture if I was like choosing that, but
right.
It's just something that just sort of happens. So I'm just like, well, I'll have to figure that out at some point.
Huh. I haven't run into that before. With Wesley 9, I've just been doing penciling. I'm trying to get the whole thing penciled and then probably lettered, and then I'll ink it. That's the process I'm kind of working with.
Oh, what was the name of that program you talked about to create your own lettering?
Calligrapher, but no E at the end. It's a website.
All right.
I think you do have to make an account, but you can make one free font for every email you sign up with.
Dude, like, cause I've been wanting to make fonts anyway, like just using like do some cool lettering for like display type.
Yeah. That's the thing that I've used for all the lettering almost all the lettering in Wesley is my own handwriting.
Now, do you have to mess with the kerning at all?
Oh, sometimes, but it's pretty darn good for what it is.
That's exciting. That's what I want to do.
I want to make some more fonts to play around with it. Like maybe use like some different pens. You know what I mean? To just play around.
Oh,
and
yeah.
See what other looks you can get. Pretty neat little tool. Back when I was teaching comics at the college, I had my students use that. It was called something else. It wasn't called Calligrapher. I think it was called myscriptfont.com. And I had them all make their own handwriting fonts to use.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you? Are you at all interested in adjunct professoring?
I did it for a little bit. I guess I'm always a little bit interested in it, but I don't know. I got a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
No, you don't have too much.
I just wondered because Frank.
No.
Well, Frank wanted me to do something over at SU, like an introduction to Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign. Like he's just like just basic stuff, and like you should get in there. And I'm like, I can't. Like I've got too much to do, and I'm just like, but he's basically like, this is a foot in the door if you ever want to, do stuff at SU. And I'm like, because I know a bunch of people over there, and like I've had classes come out, like Marty Blake, their class came out, and a couple of the other professors, like illustration professors and lettering professors.
That's awesome.
The studio. And like obviously Frank was like, he's like, I don't have a lot of pull, but I have some.
Right. I did meet the head of the illustration department there once. I went to some meeting about something when I was working at SUNY Oswego, and I introduced myself and talked about how I, liked illustration a lot. And I chatted with the guy. He seems super cool. I cannot remember his name, but he actually knows Bill Sinkovich, and was
wow.
Oh yeah, Bill's a moving target. I can never get a hold of him. So he's had a relationship with big time illustrators, which makes sense for the head of SU because
for sure.
Because they're kind of big time. And I was adjuncting then. And adjuncting at Syracuse is probably a little bit different than Oswego. It was a lot of work for... I enjoyed doing it a lot. But I don't know if it's changed at SUNY Oswego. But the pay for the hours and the work was... I'm glad that I did it, but it was the economics of it were not feasible.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I thought it'd be cool. Like eventually, someday, I'd like to, teach at the college level, but just not right now.
Yeah, I hear you. I would be open to that again at some point. I mean, man, I would be so much better now than I was then. Because I got the middle school, and middle school is not really that different from teaching college, because you really gotta lay out everything for them, and have the little corral doors, and shepherd them into the corral, and bring them over to the feed trough, and bring them over to the water, and then bring them back to the barn. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
But yeah, I mean it is a bit different, but actually I've got quite a few really awesomely talented students at the middle school level, somewhat significantly better than my college students actually.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is wild. Maybe it's the YouTube culture. Maybe it's just kids are more driven. I don't know, but
damn YouTubes.
But just to have everything absolutely totally laid out, and you have to do that a few times, working with pushing kids or students through a curriculum, through assignments, to figure out where the pitfalls are, what the parts you need to buttress, and better, and find little trapdoors to like a 5K race, the people who are fainting of heat stroke have a little golf cart and be like, hop on the back, we're gonna cross that finish line one way or another. You know what I mean? Yeah. Find those little tricks to get them through. Hopefully, I haven't said anything that's gonna get me canceled.
You're canceled. That's it.
It was a good run.
That's it.
It's a good run.
It was a good run.
season 30 or so. First few years don't count. You're not really on yet.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is. Like working with people is like herding cats a lot of the time.
Yep.
Anybody,
It's like trying to organize a D&D game. It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
Like herding. Wow.
Even like the people you like love to be around and really admire, you know. Sometimes even that is like herding cats.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think like with artists, like getting artists organized.
Yeah.
When we had that art collective in Oswego, it was really difficult. When we got over about like 20 artists, it was like
Someone doing it.
impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of have to have like a tight group that will come through.
Yeah.
I definitely need to stop messing with this soon so that it doesn't get overworked.
Yeah, I didn't take it easy on myself this time around. I've got a baby, a dog, a car, and then lettering.
Yeah, you're a madman.
Yeah. It's like in Wesley number 6, I drew a horse. I put a horse in the book just because.
Because you wanted to hurt yourself a little bit.
Yes. At the time, I was somewhat pleased with the horse, but looking back at it now, it's like, ooh, hey, buddy, ooh, we have to do some spot cleaning on that horse.
Spot cleaning a horse sounds bad, like a bad time in
Uh,
real life and in drawing.
I'm just making up these metaphors as I go along here.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I've heavily overworked this is where I'm stopping messing around with this.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Don't do anything else.
No, yeah,
that's perfect.
I'm getting a little deep on it, and I think it's time to.
That could be a full page splash right there.
We're gonna go to a new page. I'm gonna stand up to not show my work though, because I need to stretch my legs.
All right, we'll allow it.
I'll just try and stand this Danny DeVito drawing up here in my stead.
What time is it?
We are
7:20.
Yeah, 7:20.
We're cooking right through it.
Almost halfway, right?
Yep. It's a marathon stream.
You know, some people do like 24-hour comic challenges, and they do it like how we're doing right now. But I would never do that.
That's a level of dedication that is difficult on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Like I could see like an 8-hour, and that would be kind of painful after a while if you're not like getting up to move around. Like hour 12 though, you're only halfway, and at some point delirium starts to set in a little bit.
What I would suggest in lieu of that is just for 24 days just work on a comic for an hour.
That sounds like a much more interesting effort.
Yeah.
I tried to do a 24-hour comic one time when I was in college, and I think I only did 8. Yeah, it was like 8 hours. Like I'm not even sure how many. I feel like every time I tell a story, it's a different amount of pages that I did, but it's also like a zillion years ago, and I really don't remember. But it was just one of those exercises that was just very frustrating.
Yeah.
You're
like, this just stinks. Why am I doing this?
That's how Jeff Lemire got his Lost Dogs book done. Like it started as a 24-hour comic, like that graphic novel with the big guy with the striped shirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I'm gonna switch to a little ballpoint pen, I think.
Oh, gonna go Jim Rugg on it.
Where is it? No, maybe it's not the ballpoint. Like one of them on here, although it might be the fine liner. One of them feels very. What happened? Oh, what? Oh, there we go. One of them feels very pen-like, and one of them is like a really poorly smoothed out.
We lost Skylar, right? He finish
Yeah,
his
yeah,
thing.
he had it out.
He was in it. Just
The-
get in, get done. See you guys later.
The new Surface Pen, you're talking about like how something feels, actually has tactile feedback built into it. So it tries to mimic how different media actually, like the real traditional media feels. I haven't had a chance to try it because it only works with certain programs, and they don't really have the new Surface stuff to try. Even at Best Buy and some of them, they just don't have it out. But that's kind of an interesting path to go down with that tech.
Certainly. It's the one thing that always holds me up from fully committing to any, like, this was like a happy medium
Yeah.
because I can use it for like D&D or like just
Oh, really?
generic notes. Yeah, like I can get an editable PDF, open the PDF and just use that.
Oh,
Or
'cause-
like take like I could have the PDF open on like the first couple pages, flip to like 2 pages later, take notes, and then it's all contained, and I can put it in a folder that just says D&D.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
But it doubles like, so if I get, not bored, but like if I need something to hold my interest in between turns or when I'm not actively doing something, I can just doodle in the margins like a regular notepad too.
I know I'm sounding like a shill for Microsoft, but they-
Shell,
but
paintbrush.
I would
There we
love
go.
I would
That's-
love to
that
be sponsored by
feels-
Microsoft.
That feels nice.
But they have a OneNote program that actually has a great drawing function built into it, and that's really powerful too. And that can adapt your handwriting into text and all kinds of wild
That's
stuff.
that's one thing that I do like about this is that it'll do the handwriting and text as well. I don't use it very often, but like if I need to give my notes to somebody and I was doing it in a hurry,
Yeah, it's wild how all this stuff is gonna be even in a few years.
there you go. We're gonna go paintbrush. That's
Yeah,
nice,
those are some good
expressive,
lines.
Just feels
Very
feels
90s,
good.
very 90s Olympics.
Feels good. Yes. Oh, here. It's very Olympics.
Yeah, yeah, very flowy.
Here, oh,
That is funny because I wasn't even paying attention when you go very 90s Olympics. And before now he's drawing the little thing, like,
Beijing.
Yeah.
but like it does have that quality to it, 100%. Like very perceptive for you to see that line and immediately link it to that. That's very funny.
There's a documentary on graphic design. I can't remember what it's called, but it was on Netflix. It was awesome, and it just had like these two like design partners. They've been in business. They've been working on graphic design stuff for 30 years. And then they just turn to each other and they say stuff like that. They'll be like, "Oh, it's like 90s Olympics," except they'd be talking about like some kind of like Art Deco thing mixed with like some like just these few keywords, and they'd be like, "Ah, I know what you're talking about," and it's just like, "Oh, that's so awesome." Here we go. Give me a good script font here. Come on.
That's why I like
Yeah, it
that
works
I
okay.
still have a working relationship with the old traffic sign supervisor. Like he'll still stop by and shoot the breeze, but like you talk to him because he worked for the city for 30 something years. So like he came in the 80s when they were still like baking the vinyl on with hot lamps
Oh.
and having to like hand cut vinyl. And like he's from the old school, so he still referred to it as the graphic arts. It's not graphic design. And I don't know, because I don't know enough about that particular like industry like lingo change, like
Yeah.
when it switched from being graphic arts to graphic design.
Well, in some places it never changed. Like my function at SUNY Oswego, my official title was graphic artist,
arts, yeah.
which was
So
Which
that
was-
makes sense. Graphic artist, but like
but it wasn't named by somebody who understood the position.
yeah, okay, I got you.
So it sounds like I was like painting T-shirts out of a van, but
Yeah.
I was doing websites and pamphlets and brochures and videos. You know what I mean?
You have like
Huh?
a sick
Expect the camera.
wizard
Right.
You're
that's
not
airbrush out of van.
Which
I
actually
got
would have been
my-
awesome.
Oh.
Got my screen print set up in the back.
Well, I had
That's
that
insane.
too. It was like
Oh.
I was a one man like guerrilla marketing
Nice.
kind of setup, which is for as cool as it was, is not sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Understandable.
But you know, people do different things. It's like when I talk to my mom. My mom, I think, was like most proud of me when I was like a lifeguard, like a water safety instructor. And every job I've had since then, she's like a little bit disappointed in me. You know.
Like, oh, you used to save lives.
We got a first time chatter.
Yeah.
Mute the call. No.
Yeah. It's, you know.
That must have been referred
That
to.
was a while ago. It was right when we
Yes.
figured out we needed to
Yeah.
make the
Thank
call.
you. Thank you for the people out there who are helping us make a better stream. And for putting up with us.
Most importantly, for putting up with us.
Yes. What time is it?
Oh, jeez. Here we go again.
Have you gone through and clipped any other like just funny moments?
So
'Cause-
I'm gonna tell you, I cheated. I didn't clip that.
Oh.
I tried to
Yeah.
clip it. I tried to clip something that you had said at one point in time too. I just couldn't get clean audio from the stream. So I came back to Lucas one day and I was like, "Can you just say she's the very nice lady?"
Oh,
just so I can get
okay.
a clean copy of that.
Nice.
I forget what you're. I was trying to get something from you, and it was something like you said. Well, this is where the fun stops, or something.
This
It was,
is where the fun stops.
it was something like that. Where I thought that'd be a really good clip to play. Where like if somebody just goes off on the deep end about something, you just be like, "This is where the fun." Maybe it wasn't exactly that.
Yeah.
I was trying to clip that too to have a quote from you. But, couldn't get it to work.
I almost just double tapped this paper here to undo.
What a fun moment.
It happens to me a lot. Because I jump back and forth between traditional and digital all the time.
There it is again.
I like the chunkiness of that beat. I think I'm gonna double dip with what I'm doing here. This is gonna be like a fake movie poster, as well as a comic book page.
Is Randy around?
Oh yeah.
Randall.
I thought that he was talking about trying to join us in some capacity.
Hope he's doing good out there in the world.
Wherever he is.
He's doing evil.
Well, me.
He did great work for us with the coloring on
Comic Shop makes a comic.
Volume 2.
Look at the wraparound cover colors.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll tap into him again, maybe for something.
Yeah.
But see, I gave you a little cover to fool around with. And,
Oh yeah.
I liked your brother's colors, or your brother-in-law's colors.
Yeah, if we can
for
get
the
him.
last one.
He's so flaky. But I mean, he's busy and he's got a job in New York City too, so. Marketing.
Pshaw.
I've been trying to get him to do like even a short comic book story, and we could like share the book and print it and do like Marvel Comics Presents type thing.
We should do that with Caetano. Or we talked about this in the past, like doing
I
some
would do
kind
it.
of anthology where we just bring the comic shop all stars together, and everybody does like a 6-page something, and then we put it together and sell like some kind of anthology book.
That would be sick. I would love that.
Yeah,
I've
it's
kind of even
cool.
thought of, yeah, I thought about even doing like a solo thing at some point. I would call it like Pens and Pedals Presents, you know, like Marvel Comics Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
'Cause
get it.
Those are some of the first comics I ever had with those Marvel Comics Presents books from like Crandall's Drugs in.
I actually was filing today. I came across some of those actually.
Marvel Comics Presents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those. just for the possibility of it, you know? Like you get your Barry Windsor Smith, but then you also get your very earliest Joe Madureira.
He was 16.
Well, he had like some internship thing with his school. It was like an art school in New York City.
But still, he was 16.
Yeah, well, Jim Shooter submitted a story that got bought at 13.
I know, isn't that wild?
Wow.
They didn't know they were dealing with a kid, right?
No.
That's even crazier.
Wasn't that young guy at Coffee and Comics? Didn't he say he talked to Jim Shooter and like Jim Shooter just talked forever?
Yeah, the guy who had
The Shadow, I like to call him, because he had the mask, but it was below the nose.
what's his comic store?
Was he Funky Town or was he something else?
I think he was Funky Town.
Yeah.
He was a nice dude.
Yeah, he was
Really
cool.
nice dude. Actually, that was the nicest thing. Was just all the cool people we met yesterday.
Yeah, everybody was pretty chill. I like that. Need more of those sick beats back. It's too quiet.
Actually, I don't like it. It just takes me. The process isn't fun to listen to. I don't think.
Yeah, my wife made me very aware of that because, like, I was very much into making beats and songs and stuff when we first started dating. So, like, back in AOL Instant Messenger, shout out to AOL Instant Messenger,
Shout out.
I would finish a track and send it to her. Or, like, when she would come over to my house, I would just be working on a beat and she would curl up at my feet and fall asleep as I was making a song.
Because I think for me, it takes time to flesh something like that out, where
Yes.
it's just listening to the same drum loop over and over and over again
Yes.
until you figure out like what the bass is going to be like, and then
Yes. And you don't
You know,
know
I'm just-
until you hear it back.
and I'm just playing with random chords here, where like I just plotted out a few notes, and then turning those notes into like, okay, I'm going to change this B into a B minor chord, and then it's trying to remember like what goes with B minor, and it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like sometimes in 20 minutes you got something, but other times it's just like an hour of listening to the same things over and over again and moving things just a little bit here and a little bit there, and like I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like a gesture drawing too, you know, like taking a look at something and like doing a quick drawing of it. Sometimes a sketch can be really beautiful, and then other times like all you see are like the ugliness in the line.
Mm-hmm.
I need another runaway thing. I'm just over here doodling and none of it's sticking. It'll come back around.
I gotta say, I am digging doing this in a physical space
Yeah, it's fun.
this time around.
The only other thing that I can think of now that I look at Danny DeVito is cat piss mustard shirt.
I do like this marker pen that you gave me a
Yeah.
lot. It's just
It's tough to control.
yeah. Well, it's like be fun for like bigger things. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I have this little blue one. You want to try the blue one? I think is this a Fudo? No, this is the Kuretake. This has a smaller tip. So it's that same type deal, but you might get some more control. Oh, there you go. That's like some Jose Munoz going on there.
Like I feel like I could do like a fun like big character, but when I'm trying to do smaller stuff, it's fun. It adds a little bit of life to it. But
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
You could
You're
do
not
a
ready.
good goon drawing with that, huh?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. 100%.
The goon. That's one of the characters that I really want to like, but whatever I've read of him has not clicked with me. I gotta give it another shot. I love the look of the character. I love Eric Powell.
Yeah, that artwork is cool. I've seen like some really cool renditions of him too.
I like that he jumps around with style too, like all on the same page, like watercolor and pencil, and then full digital. He'll just play around with that. They just went over on Cartoonist Kayfabe the Dave Stevens Rocketeer.
40th
Man.
anniversary Rocketeer.
Yeah, 40th anniversary Rocketeer. Man, that guy could draw.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Is there a way? Because I want to make gutters on the sides too. Like here.
Can you adjust the canvas?
Big Hulk.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can just do a rectangle and do it that way?
I don't think you have that functionality in here. You could make a new layer and then draw a box and straighten out the lines and then just fill around it.
Yeah, I guess I'll just do that.
Yeah, I think that's the way because it doesn't really have the like an Illustrator box creation function.
That's stupid.
Well, it's more of a drawing program than a design program.
It's true.
It certainly is. Oop. Oh no. Just crossed a bar I shouldn't have crossed.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Is there any like colorists that y'all specifically look for, or like get down with?
A colorist?
Here's my drawing for you.
Yeah. There's only one colorist that I know that I really like, but I don't really know colorists.
I do know one he's an artist too, but he's done some work for whoever publishes the Invader Zim and Rick and Morty comics. I'm not sure who that publisher is, but Fred C. Stressing. He's
Does Oni Press do those?
maybe it's Oni,
Oni,
or maybe it's IDW. I don't know. But he's a really good colorist, and he's friends with my friend Sally, who is engaged to my friend Miles out in Rochester.
Miles
Yeah.
Morales?
Miles George.
What superhero is he?
Oh, I don't know. But he'd be Music Man, because he could talk about music for days. But as far as like colorists that I like, I think Jose Villarruba is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Dave Stevens, not Dave Stevens,
Dave
Stewart.
Dave
Dave
Stewart.
Stewart colors.
Yeah, Dave Stewart's the only one that I'm like,
Colors
yo, who is this? And every time it's Dave Stewart.
Jacob Phillips, the son of Sean Phillips, has been doing the colors on the new Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips stuff. I think his stuff is cool.
If you keep it in the family, you gotta go Laura Allred.
Oh, Laura Allred. Queen of comics. Queen of comics coloring, Laura Allred. Awesome stuff. Marie Severin. She colored all those EC comics back in the day. I mean, since deceased, but Marie Severin, awesome colorist.
I don't really know her. She just did EC stuff.
Well, she was a bullpen person at Marvel for a long time. She would do like house ads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an unsung hero of Marvel. Very capable artist, but didn't get a chance to do a lot of books for whatever reason. Armless Hulk smash. But I'm just trying to think of some other colorists I really like.
What was that, Laura? Who?
Laura Allred. She's the wife of Mike Allred, who did Madman and Ecstatics and a million other books. Atomics.
Is she coloring excellent?
Yeah, she's coloring excellent.
You know what's funny? I grabbed that book. I haven't looked at comics in a few weeks. I didn't even flip through that, which is like embarrassing. Because like
It's good. I mean, it's
the reason I guess I didn't. It sat behind the counter for the longest time because I thought somebody wanted a Duke cover. And we only had one book left.
Yeah.
But we had some that were damaged. The damaged ones came in, so eventually I grabbed the all red cover that I wanted, which I normally don't care about covers, but like
Mike Allred, man.
I need a Mike Allred cover.
I love his stuff.
But then I think it went home and it just went in the pile and never got looked at. Like a true comics fan.
It's good. I mean, that's one of the ones that I have read. With Lucy, like having to hold on to Lucy, like because she won't sleep if you don't hold her for, sometimes. So like have a little bit more time to read because there's not really much else I can do. So I've caught up on the Me You Love in the Dark and Ultra Mega, and I read The Full World Below by Paul Chadwick, and some other stuff too. I'm not thinking of right now, and I'm slowly working my way through all of the Doctor Strange ever, the old stuff, the Steve Ditko and Stan Lee strips from Strange Tales. Man, that stuff is real good, where they just keep it real simple. I wish Stan Lee didn't write so much, though, because he doesn't really add much to the stories.
We've talked about this in the past when we were kids. Ravage 2099 was coming out, and it was written by Stan Lee. And I was like, I don't think I've ever read a book written by Stan Lee. Like, Stan's coming back for this. And I was so excited. I think I read like 3 or 4 issues, and I was like, oh, this is kind of crap. Like, this is not very good at all. And I think Stan only wrote 1 more issue before he was replaced, but it was just like, I was so disappointed because you just heard Stan Lee, and it's like, oh, he's actually going to write a book.
Yeah. You know what the early Doctor Strange actually reminds me of in form is a lot like the fight mangas. Because it's just Doctor Strange going up against like a new like villain guy who has like other powers, and then Doctor Strange has to do like combinations of different spells and summoning different things and like figuring out tricks and stuff. Like I don't know if they've ever done a Doctor Strange like manga type thing, but seems like that would be a natural fit from that early stuff.
I know Lucas would love it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
No, I actually probably would read that.
But it would have to be done in that same
Just 'cause
spirit
you
as
hate everything that Aaron Z. Lee loves.
that like
Pretty
watercolor
much.
or you don't like Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker?
I love them.
Okay, we got that at least.
Yes, I do love Sean Phillips and that Brubaker. I still have to finish Criminal though.
Yeah, there's a lot to Criminal though.
Yeah, I want to get the deluxe editions. And I only have the
Yeah, those
first
look
one.
great. I don't think I know. I
Oh,
don't think I have any
eventually,
of those.
I think for my birthday I'll ask for them. I'll order them through the shop and have my mom call and pay for them. It's happened for Christmas. From my understanding, she like threatened you, Evan, to not tell me. Is that how it went down?
I don't want to talk about it, okay?
She's like, you better not tell Lucas. She's a very nice lady, but she can be threatening.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna play the clip for that.
Please don't. Please don't.
I'm not gonna do it.
I don't know what else to do with this awful monstrosity.
Ooh, what is it like?
I don't.
a
I'm not
poke,
sure.
a bird Tasmanian devil?
There's some stuff going on there, and just
I like the alternate reality of just different weird animals.
it came from a series of shapes I squiggled, and then was like, well, there's something here. It's probably not good. Like, I wouldn't want to encounter this thing.
Oh no.
It just has vaguely humanoid back legs, but no arms.
Just making
It's
weird
fun.
stuff as part of the. Jonathan Lego Man said Aaron mentioned Sean Phillips. Take a drink. Never fails. I think I probably mention him each episode.
Got him. Quality creator.
Is John
Yeah.
working on anything tonight?
Yeah, Jonathan, what are you working on?
When do we have to have this done by?
10 minutes.
Tonight.
No, I'm just kidding.
Get it done. It is 7:47. You're running out of time to just finish it. 30-second drawings.
I'm
No,
actually,
I would say like the next week or so.
I'm actually really
Seems fair.
liking how this is coming out.
Yeah, like working inside these grids that are pre-made. Like I'm having a great time not having to worry about the grid. And I like this one is so like I've been super into Gene Colan. You know, I take a drink. Like this is totally a like a Gene Colan layout, just like big weird shapes.
It is fun.
This is the name of the film.
Loosen the toot.
You know, like Starsky and Hutch or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Laverne and Shirley, Thelma and Louise.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that. It's going for that vibe.
You guys ever look at Felix comic art, like the pages that are for sale?
Big yawn. Yep.
Felix Comic Art, Caetano?
Yeah, where they have like original art pages for sale, like from comics.
Maybe I have. I forget.
It's freaking awesome. I'm actually over here looking at James Heron pages.
Oh,
and
they're
like-
super
I'm like-
expensive.
Yeah, some of them aren't. They're not too bad. There's a bunch of like $150, $200 ones
I'm
from
shocked at
Rumble,
that.
but then there's like $1,000, $1,500 pages as well.
Caetano's just telling me about this website, the Felix Comic Art page, where you can purchase original art. He's talking about Dan Heron's pages.
James Herron.
James Heron. Sorry, I'm looking at a picture of Daniel Warren Johnson and here's
I get
James
I
Heron.
get them mixed up all the time.
Yeah, they're very
I mean,
similar.
they have a similar energy, but I get them mixed up all the time.
Oh, we got Stuart Immonen in there, Cliff Chang, Chris Burnham. We got some legit people on this.
Yeah, they have some really cool videos. I don't think they make the videos anymore, but they're like little interviews and showing a little bit of the process of like some of the artists. But I don't think they make those videos anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it's got Yuko Shimizu. I
Mega
love her stuff.
pages. Oh, they're all sold out. Son of a.
Oh, you can get Yuko Shimizu sketches for $80. Oh, they're all sold. Never mind.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. You're like, oh, nope, gone, all gone.
Yeah, she's super brushy. She has like awesome brush texture. She's somebody I've followed for a long time. Oh, Marcio Takara too. I like his stuff a lot. James Jean. Oh, but let's just for fun. Let's look at some of these. Yeah, they're all sold, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, Sanford Green's a guy who's popped up on my radar.
Oh, Sanford Green is awesome, man. Bitter Root.
Yeah.
I love Sanford Green. Like his Instagram is really cool.
Yeah, all his stuff is sold pretty much too. Oh, there's a page for $250.
A Sanford Green page.
Yeah.
Man, every single page from every issue of Ultra Mega is sold.
Yep, I don't doubt.
I mean, it's not surprising or anything, but it's just like, man, what a tease.
That book had some buzz when it was coming out.
I mean, I loved it, man. Like I was all over it.
It's like I feel like there's so much more to that world that he was building. That it's just like he's trying, like, even with the 60-page issues, he's just like scratching the surface of what he was trying to do with that.
Yeah, like I liked, like, the reason I really love James Herron, he's like my favorite, is that it's like just a mixture of like super energetic and like ferocious, while also being like kind of a little silly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like some of the faces are just like really elastic,
Yeah.
and I really like that about him.
Yeah, he's not afraid to lean into the cartoony. Like there's that design of that one female character who she just has like the big circular glasses and like a very simple face.
That reminded me of like some Sam Keith stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I totally, yeah. Like what's her name?
Julie.
Julie, yeah. Or well, there was a younger girl that came in later, Sarah, right?
Sarah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yep.
Who always had the circle glasses.
Outstanding.
Yeah, there's some wild stuff. Oh, Ryan Otley's on there.
All right, I'm done with my gutters.
Done with your gutters.
Oh.
Yeah, it's setting up grids takes a lot of time. Letterers used to set up the grids and finalize the grids for
Really?
the process. Yeah, it used to be a task that they all had. I'm not sure what era that is. I think that's very early on in the world of comics. I watched an interview with Ben Templesmith today, and that was pretty cool. I really like his stuff. You know what I'm talking about? He did 30 Days a Night. He did Gentleman
Okay.
Wormwood,
Okay.
Squitter.
Dark Days.
Yeah, Dark Days, a sequel to 30 Days a Night. His story is kind of interesting. Talked a lot about like insider stuff with making comics and like Kickstarters and all the stuff he's learned from over the years from maybe some not great partnerships and stuff he's had over the years or what he learned.
Those
What
are
was
usually
that?
the people that have the best insight are the ones that have had to just deal with the worst version of the business.
Yeah, like doing Kickstarter, and like one of his partners like used up a lot of the money before they went to press.
Yikes.
Like it was successful, but
Oof.
yeah, and then like just being partnered with some other people who like were not doing their part of the business, like
yeah.
contributing, and then he had to like pull everything up, and then there was a Kickstarter that like people purchased and was successful, but then he had to use his own money to get the book out just
Oh my
because he didn't want to let people down. Oh, that's a little heartbreaking.
Yeah, that would stink so bad.
Yeah, in this world of crowdfunding being so big. Jonathan
Yep.
Ashline is.
Oh,
Hey,
call's
Dave's
gonna
back.
end again in 10 minutes here. So we
Somebody
will
was telling me about a Kickstarter they jumped in on. They just turned into Vapor.
Oh, really?
Fairly recently. And it might have just been for RPG books or something. And I feel like that's like a weird industry to. Like, if your product isn't done and you're just using the Kickstarter to do the last push to get it to the printer, like, but you're using the Kickstarter money to, like, fund development.
Yeah.
So, like, a really, really kind of dangerous way to, I don't know. Like, I guess if you're trying to be, you know, a little unscrupulous and fund yourself without any real consequence.
I've seen some of that stuff. Like, there's this book, Dagger that came out that they did the crowdfunding and then they paid the artists to do it.
That's kind of a yikes moment right there.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them. I mean, they printed it and I got the book. But, like, if I ever do a Kickstarter, most of the book is going to be done.
Yeah.
Like, the only other stuff that I wouldn't have done is maybe if I did, like, a bonus strip or...
Well, yeah, so those are the stretch goals and, like, things like that people kind of understand if they don't necessarily, like, meet the exact launch date. You know, if you're like, oh, yeah, you know, your incentives that I had to hand draw 100 of are going to be a couple weeks behind.
I've thought a little bit about with a Kickstarter, like buying, because it would be the Wesley book, which would be Kickstarter, like buying a run of the book ahead of time, and so that like as soon as it's successful, just ship.
I've seen Kickstarters go like that too, where like you basically did the self-publishing part and put your own money up, and you're just using the Kickstarter to like kind of buffer. You know, you were ready to go to market regardless. There's a couple game companies that I know of currently that do that. Like, they don't need the Kickstarter money, but it's guaranteed sales.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do enough sufficient, like, plotted out stretch goals.
Oh, Aaron, this marker's really fun.
Yeah, that brush pen. Yeah, brush pens are pretty cool. I'm actually just cracking open a new brush pen. One of these
Here's some more doodles for you.
color brush medium from Pentel. Oh, we got some more drawings from Evan here. These are some good faces. Playing around with them. Profiles are tough to do, man.
I really want to do a Kickstarter. I'm like, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh.
And
I really want to do.
And they're not the only place to go for it, too. I know Matthew Allison, who does Cancor, just did a fundraiser, which I participated in. There's Indiegogo, which Ben Templesmith was talking about. There's so many options now. It's tough to figure out which is the one that makes the most sense. There's Patreon. I have a Patreon account, but I haven't done anything with it.
I haven't been purposely avoiding that particular
because it's just
news,
like,
but, like,
I don't know.
There's an amount of it that's just like
what is the content that gets people to cross the dollar barrier? And it feels I don't know. I mean, I could post pages and stuff that I work on for a Patreon or whatever, because I'm always doing work. I mean, I could always just put work up in there, or tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think tutorials and just sketches, just like live sketches. You know, warm-ups.
So that could be decent, but it's just like. But then there's all these other people who are doing, you know, that same stuff. It's like if you for $1 you could see my tutorials and my sketches, but then like you could also see like I don't know, Ben Templesmith's drawings and sketches for $1 too. It's like tough competition. Or maybe I'm thinking of it the wrong way. Maybe I need to think of it as a not a scarcity market, but an abundance market.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can see Ben Templesmith, but then you can see me too.
You
Wow.
have value too, Aaron.
That's right.
And maybe being exposed would give you an avenue that otherwise you didn't expect.
It's possible. I was very pleased today. Before I came down here today, somebody bought Prizza's Pizza and all 8 issues of Wesley online, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
It's always nice when somebody goes in on the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
The whole shabazz.
That's right. All right, we're at 8 o'clock exactly. All right, I'm in a good spot right now.
When are we done?
3 hours.
Supposed to 3
Till 9?
3 a.m. Yeah.
No, not 3 a.m.
Yep.
Let's do it.
3 a.m.
You guys can stay. I won't be here at 3
Where's
a.m.
the beer?
The deer?
The beer.
It's out
Saw
in
the
the,
deer
it's out in the
earlier.
forest. It's in the forest, Lucas.
Okay, yeah. What was I thinking? Of course, it's in the forest.
I was.
Yeah, so
watching some
tell me what y'all think about
here.
this. I know a guy who got a
villains,
he got his Kickstarter funded.
and there was
Yeah.
definitely like
40,000.
a very ridiculous, over the top.
That was back in
Bambi.
2019, I want to say. And the guy, I just happen to know that he hasn't done anything on it. Like he's maybe done a couple of pages,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like that's a long time, right? Like for a Kickstarter that got funded, 2019 to now.
Yeah, what is that? 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like there's probably like extenuating circumstances a little bit because of COVID and everything.
Yeah.
But like that seems like to me, I would be like, bro, you're at home, like draw it.
Right. That's why I don't think I would ever do a Kickstarter if like it wasn't basically done, and like the only other thing I would do is like if I hit a stretch goal to do like another story or another pinup or do a risograph or something, like that it would be an extra thing to print out.
Yeah.
Like just because it's so hard to get somebody to buy into your stuff
Mhm.
that like
Yeah.
once they're like, yeah, I'm in, like
He's
I-
right after the RZA and the
I would
Jizzle.
not take that for granted. I would want to be able to
Yeah.
deliver as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Well, I was looking, man, because like this book that I'm working on is almost done. It's
Yeah.
I mean it's very nearly there, and like I'm like I was looking today at like the submission process for Scout,
Mhm.
and like they don't there's not you don't have to have as much as I've already got done to just pitch it to them, you
Right.
know, and I'm like, so I know like if I were to do a Kickstarter, it'd be like. And they have said, Scout has said like that if you do a Kickstarter and it gets fully funded, it does not have any effect on whether or not they accept you. They like if you do a successful Kickstarter, great. But
That's
just
awesome.
all they ask is like you repackage a little bit or do something different if they pick you up.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they're like they're talking like a cover, 6 pages, a log line, and I think like a synopsis of the whole thing. A couple things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I would think a successful Kickstarter shows that there's a market for it.
Yeah.
I think they'd be more interested than less interested.
Yeah, I think that might be the way to go, man. Maybe like, to do a Kickstarter first, get
Yeah.
it funded, and it's when the comic's already actually done,
Yeah.
and then be like, hey, by the way, if you guys want to pick this up, it's around,
Yeah.
Although I heard about somebody who like they were fixing to do a Kickstarter, and then they got approached before the Kickstarter started, and they're like, hey, like let us publish your comic, bring it over here.
Mhm.
I think that was for like Loggerhead or something like that. And then so they ended up just like publishing through them. And they had all the stuff ready for the Kickstarter stretch goals already, so they just had to figure out a way to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Sarah messaged
Yeah, it all depends on the publishing deal too.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that Ben Templesmith was talking about was like when you see something that says creator owned, sometimes the deal with the publisher is like, yeah, the creator owns part of it, but the publisher owns like 50.1%. You know, so it's just another thing to consider. I mean, I'm in a different situation, you know, because I teach. So like, if I had a publisher that was interested in me and they wanted to like have majority control in anything I did, I'd just be like, no thanks. You know, just because like the thing for me is to be able to do whatever I want. Like you take that away, and it's like because I only have so many hours in the day. You know, and so like if I do, oh no, we lost him.
Hyperbolic time chamber. Dragon Ball Z. It's just, you go in there, it's like 1 minute is like 10 years.
Oh yeah, didn't they do that in the new X-Men?
Which new X-Men?
The
Is that Days of Futures Past?
no, the Hickman. I think they had.
Oh, like the actual comic. I don't know.
What was the how you said hyperbolic?
Time chamber. It's a Dragon Ball Z thing.
Well, with the, you read the Hickman X-Men, right, or no?
I haven't read all of it either. I just know some pieces of it.
There was like a group of mutants 5 mutants that could basically bring everybody back to life. And with Cerebro, Professor X would download their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you died, maybe you would be hatched 2 weeks later. You'd only lose like a few days worth of whatever. It wasn't a bad
What are you
game.
getting called? Who's that?
Hello? What's up?
Just the most,
Do we open up the Google Meet again?
Yeah, it's up.
the most chill
Nothing, I'm at
stream
the
ever.
comic shop.
Do get it back.
Do we need to repost the link at all?
If you wanna,
Huh?
Just drop it in the Twitch.
I already did.
yeah.
It's already, everything's.
Oh, you did it already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll text you when I'm out of work. Yeah, no. Probably just make some. I'm gonna make some mac and cheese when I go home. Alright, that's it.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese drama.
That's a good alternate reality.
I'm not sharing my mac and cheese with anyone.
But why?
We've got some mac and cheese trapped up.
Why would I?
Because it's just mac and cheese.
But it's amazing.
If there's a finite supply of mac and cheese, yes.
Yeah. Is the code? Can you copy or send me the code again so I can send it to Abe?
How do you want me to send you the code? It's in the Twitch chat.
Can I just
I
copy
made a
it?
Facebook post.
For a new one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Evan, I'm on top of things 24/7, my friend. Come on, get with it. What are you talking about? Of course I made a Facebook post.
Right now, he's making a Facebook post.
It was posted 2 minutes ago. Listen, okay?
Your
getting into some-
engagement is too high on Facebook, so it's bumping the post down.
We're getting into some good conversation about Kickstarter too.
Yeah.
It's tough for you guys because I don't think you can hear Caetano, right?
I can hear him a little bit.
I know when he's talking, but I can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
Abe's still working on his last. Let's talk to Abe a little bit when we get back in here, and
All right.
he's working on his last panel. Want to make sure he feels involved.
And what was it like? What was he making? He's making
A sequel to
the first one.
his Noi Boy,
Yes.
where the Noi Boy
He uses Oculus.
uses an Oculus.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that it plays into the cover image too.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, got an ask.
Boop, boop, boop.
Just me.
There he is.
The legend.
My own
Make sure I'm muted.
Make sure to mute it. No.
I'm thinking a dog right now.
What are the odds?
I'm gonna try and probably be unsuccessful at the Bill and Ted phone booth.
Go for it.
Giving it a whirl. But I needed a reference because it's actually a fairly specific shape phone booth with what is essentially, I believe that prop is just an umbrella. It's stripped of its fabric.
Is Bill and Ted just American Doctor Who?
Pretty close. It's pretty close.
Exactly like it.
Like, yeah, I mean, because even in Bill and Ted 2, like, they die, kinda, and they, like, go meet death and hang out, and then, like, they still come back to life. Like, that's a very Doctor Who thing to, like, oh, the Doctor's timeless. He never really dies.
Yeah. He's just reinterpreted.
Mm-hmm.
It's my poignant phrase for this meet. That could be a good tweet if I tweeted.
You should start tweeting.
Start.
I have a tweeting account that has actually many flowers. It has many flowers from my music blogging days.
Ah,
But I haven't tweeted in
you
years.
should abuse that
I should
for personal gain.
just start spamming all my comics on there.
Yeah. No. I'm too tired to do that much perspective.
Yeah, that's why I love guys like Paul Pope, because he's like, nah, I'd rather not.
Yep. I looked at it. I got a couple lines in and was like,
You know,
it's like I could draw a big dumb, rectangle and try and do the dimensions of it. It's like, no, how about I don't?
you know what I found, like, in my own stuff? Like, whenever I bust out the ruler and, like, try and do things in perspective, it always looks weird because it's not quite right.
Yeah.
But if I just look at it and kind of eyeball it and do it in my style, then everything gels together,
Yeah.
which is not the common idea, maybe, when you're drawing perspective. But, like,
Depends what you're going for. I mean, if you want that absolute hard, clean, perfect edge with perfect dimensions,
nah.
that is a very particular subset of people who are looking for that kind of, like, if I were to draw Bill and Ted's, time machine and get the ruler out, it would look kind of dull, especially for something that might go in this.
I feel like that kind of sucks the life out of whatever it is. Because
Well,
I'm looking
it's-
for the texture and the humanity.
It's Comic Shop Makes a Comic, not like the architectural design study of a
Right.
prop from a movie.
Right.
I just don't have. John says, I think Bill and Ted is more stoner comedy and Doctor Who is more straight science fiction. That's totally fair, but like,
But in the American connotation, is that what encompasses the change?
yeah. What a great time of just lazy buddy comedy science fiction nonsense. Bill and Ted, Weird Science.
Oh yeah.
What was the one with Val Kilmer?
Real Genius.
Real Genius. Shooting a laser through the campus to make popcorn.
Popcorn, an important part of Wesley the Robot number 9.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that's a
spoiler.
spoiler. Well, maybe a little bit.
Little spoiler. I see what you're saying though, John. Like it's two totally different things, and it's not even like America's take on like that level of science fiction. It's just a funny aside that it's like Doctor Who climbs into the TARDIS, and Bill and Ted are like hanging outside the convenience store, and George Carlin of all people walk out in a trench coat like, "You got to come save the future, boys."
That was quite a get to get George Carlin
Yeah.
in that role.
But it created the nostalgia for people who are like all of our ages, that every time George Carlin appears in a movie is like the sort of wizardly father character.
Yeah. And I found the Evan Dorkin Bill and Ted comic, the collected all of it.
Oh,
And they did it in a good way too. They scanned the printed page and then
Nice.
reprinted that. I found that at Ollie's for like, I don't even, it was cheap.
See, many people now have told me that Ollie's is a place that like I should be just once in a while, just give it a once over, see what sort of nonsense they have on the shelves, because it's cheap.
John
there's a
Wellman
lot of
brought
it.
in a trade for me the other day.
Yeah.
I haven't put it out yet, but it's, you know, you got it for $5, and it's something that's ties into Peacemaker.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's kind of correct.
Okay.
It's vigilante.
I feel like maybe some of the Ollie stuff is picked over, but maybe they're still getting stuff or getting stuff out of the warehouse or whatever.
Yeah. See, there's a weird one that I wish that we had access to, is just being closer to a distribution hub or warehouse,
Yeah.
and then just make friends with the people that work there,
Yes.
because those are the places. Oh, yeah, it's out of circulation technically, but it's in the stock list still. We can sell it to you. You just have to come here and get it.
There's a warehouse not too far from where my brother-in-law lives in Long Island. It's just a big comic warehouse, and they have a big sale like once a year.
Yeah.
Down there, I would love to go down there and just like
Pick through whatever they're selling. Yeah.
and just see what they've got. For just find like some Eclipse comics or Pacific comics from like 1980s,
Sure.
and just like raid all that stuff.
I think I'm just I'm falling into doodle mode. We'll just doodle.
That's all right.
It's
You can use every part of the buffalo.
every yes. We'll use
That's a
every
great one.
use every part of the buffalo. If only I could
How's
trans-
Abe doing? Check on Abe.
Yeah, do we have
See,
Abe,
how
Abe
is
in the mix?
He's not in the.
Not in?
No, he didn't come back.
It's no one's in the Google Meet.
Okay.
That's all right.
His dad messaged me to get the code.
Just copy it from Facebook.
I
and
did. I
say-
sent it to him
Oh.
like 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
Well, it's starting to get late
Yeah.
for some people anyway. I don't know what. I mean, school's still in session, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm also getting to old man stage where 8 o'clock at night. Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on my stocking cap.
It's late for me, but this is one of the activities that I will stay awake for.
Mm-hmm.
We lost Caetano too.
Yes. That was kind of like a nice preview of getting him on the show there.
I'm sure he wouldn't remember, but I met him a long time ago.
Yeah.
Where'd you meet him?
Some friends of mine were working at Camp Hollis, and they were all like daytime counselors or something like that. And he came back with them when I was living at the campground, and like we all just kind of hung out at the campground.
When was this at Camp Hollis? What
Man,
year?
2007.
Okay. I was a counselor and waterfront
2006
director,
maybe?
2004, 2005. So I was out of there by then. I was a state park guy at that point. I wanted to sleep in my own bed and get paid twice as much.
It had to have been right in that time frame, because there's like a chunk of time where like everybody was out of college, and we all just kind of like lazily pretended to work summers at the campground.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, my dad needs somebody to mow the lawn and like clean the cabins. Like all of my friends are home and don't really have jobs, so I don't know. I'll come do an amount of labor for probably not quite enough money, but we'll feed you and you can just sleep here.
Mhm.
Just generally use all of our facilities.
That was appealing about working at Camp Hollis, is that you had room and board for the summer. And I didn't want to be at home with the fam. I wanted to do my own thing, strike out on my own, be my own man. It was good for a time. Canoeing out on the lake is fun.
Yeah, I've canoed out on the lake a couple of times and not really paid close enough attention to the incoming weather.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
been like a half a mile out and needing to like paddle back as it's starting to rain, and what an unpleasant time that is.
When I was chief, the people who would like tour and like check in on the facilities and stuff for New York State
Yeah.
would be like, "Are you checking the NOAA website before you come in?" And I was like, huh? I mean, I guess eventually I did, but it's just like, I gotta manage everything and check the weather. It's too much, man.
Weather is unimportant. Just gamble everything.
You could have some element of surprise in your day, keep it interesting. Plus, what happens if it's bad weather? You have an easy day, easy peasy.
Or a bad day.
Well,
Did
depends.
Did somebody sneak out onto the water?
Well, there's only so much we can do when people do that, and then they typically like leave our area anyway.
Hmm.
But yeah, just got into some weird stuff. Cause like if somebody's like swimming through our swimming area, like a long distance swimmer or whatever, like we just treat them like a boat, which is weird.
He's no longer a man. He is now a boat.
Right, but if anything goes down, we are supposed to respond. So it's just weird. It's like not a problem until it is, which is just an odd way to operate. Whenever one of those situations came up, like if I was free, I did kind of kayak out to them and just stay with them until they were out of our space, which is more than you have to do. But I figured that way I'm there in case something did happen.
It makes you feel better about the scenario, though, because if you just watch somebody drown, it's kind of... That's not a good feeling.
Yeah. And that was when I was supervisor, too, so I just really wanted everything to go well.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like, one of the few jobs that I've had where I literally, like, could not sleep before, like, the first day of it. Just because literally, like, it could be life and death.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're doing, it's just like anything. Once you're doing the job day in, day out, it's like whatever.
I experience that regularly. It's the... Most of the things that I do in a given day could kill me.
Oh, jeez.
Eventually, it just stops kind of really feeling so terrifying.
Yeah, that's why I'm lucky to be an art teacher now. It's like the worst thing I could do is, like, chop my arm off with a paper cutter.
I could regularly get hit by cars. Like,
Yeah.
or get electrocuted. Like, it's just... Oh.
That's life.
Uh-huh.
How are we doing on time? 8:22. I'm right on target.
Uh-huh. So is there, like, is it your email that this stuff is going to end up going to?
Yes, pensandpedals@gmail.com. PEDALS @gmail.com. Bicycle pedal, guitar pedal, not flower pedal.
Trying to think if I can make a reductionist version of an animal that's even more simplistic than this representative wedge of cheese and mouse. See if I can get into abstract animal.
Yeah, you can be like Larry Marder's Bean World. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Larry Marder was the first image. They needed somebody. The image guys decided they needed somebody to manage them because they were all like doing their own thing. So they brought in Larry Marder.
Oh snap! That's a weird piece of. Because I knew the name in both contexts, but I didn't connect
Yeah.
Bean World until right now.
And again, he was the guy who made comics, but they didn't bring him in to make comics. They were like, we're all doing. We all have no idea what we're doing, and we're all very impulsive. And like, can you be the father figure that
I
like?
was gonna say sometimes you need a business manager to make sure that you don't ruin your business.
Yeah, like if I had, unlimited funds, and I could just do whatever, I probably would have somebody who like would schedule things, or stay on top of ideas, or schedule out work or something like that. Like build a work calendar, or like Dave Gibbons he's been on Kayfabe quite a few times, but I think they talked to him about his watching The Watchmen or making The Watchmen book, which is about the process of it, and he literally had like a prison calendar of finishing the pages and inking the pages for the book, which like he would like cross them off like every single day. Like that dude is organized. Dave Gibbons,
Yeah.
like one of the few artists capable of even working with Alan Moore, I think, and because of his exceptional talent too, and a hard work ethic, but just highly organized, it seems to me, or at least he's creating the illusion of being highly organized very successfully.
This is where I peter out. I drew a cheese and a mouse and a trap, and that's what I got.
There you go.
I think I have enough doodles that I'll find a thing or two and send it to you. I don't think I have anything that's necessarily like a whole page. Well, the one drawing maybe enough for. If I find a couple of things, I might work a little more tomorrow on it or something, but see if maybe I can have a eureka moment while I'm sitting around tomorrow after work.
Yeah.
For like a big 2 panels or.
Anything works.
Mm-hmm. Or if all else fails, just like we talked about last time. I don't know. There's enough like random things in there that could be smushed down into little TVs in the background of the cover.
Yeah.
So what do we have in the Google Meet at one point? We had, I mean, nobody's in there now, as far as I know, right?
Yeah.
We had Skylar and John, Cardano.
Our guy Abe.
Abe. I was gonna say Noah, but that he's not. That's a different person entirely.
I was like, no, who the hell? Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Noah.
It's like the different young person, entirely different scenario.
Is there anybody else still watching the stream?
There are 3 viewers, and I think that they
we
are.
got 4 right now, actually.
Does this actually go out flipped? That camera?
It goes out as you see it.
Okay, so it's been backwards the whole time?
Yes.
LOL. I'm excited. It's gonna be like my first like published thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I mean, even though it's not good, but it's cool.
Well, that's the whole point, is to make something and publish it. Damn the torpedoes. We're gonna publish it.
See, I can never quite tell who the viewers are when I go to my thing, because it always gives me the moderator window.
Yeah.
So it shows like everything. It's like it says that there's 4 viewers, but when I go to my list, there's like 6 or 7, plus Evan and I, which isn't true. last half hour push. What do we got? Yeah,
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just lettering.
a bunch of fun stuff you did. Evan's working on squaring up his stuff. Lucas, you're pretty close to done with yours.
For the most part, I'm pretty much done drawing,
Yeah.
and then I just gotta letter it.
Are
Which
you
I'm gonna-
are you going to hand letter it, or are you gonna try
No, I'm just gonna do Photoshop.
and
You can use Comic Sans.
do it? Do it. You're happy about your first publishing. Make sure it ruins itself by using.
So
Comic
no one can
Sans.
read any of the words because you're just too distracted by the typeface.
I actually may be done drawing.
Yeah.
If the aliens talk, they should definitely speak using wingdings.
Wingdings. There was a parody cartoon I did when Rise of the Batman or whatever that was with Bane.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just Bane looking imposing and like speaking, but like his speech bubbles are just like squiggles. And Batman was like, I can't understand anything you're saying with that mask on.
I had to use wingdings not too long ago, but not in a
Probably take the
normal way,
headphones
I guess. So in Excel, I was trying to make a check, but like I didn't want a checkbox. I literally just wanted to show a check. So like the recommendation, because there's apparently no just symbol, is like go into wingdings and it's this particular character for a check mark. It's like, oh, okay.
Useful.
How do I change the color? Oh, never mind. I figured it out.
I'm glad I stuck with my original concept. Can't even remember what else I might have done. Oh, the other things would have been way more labor intensive. They would have been a reach into Wesley X, which is the thing after the thing I'm currently working on.
Wesley X, like Jason X, but not bad.
Yeah, well, 10, but also like
Yeah,
could be like Weapon X.
that's a much more interesting take on Jason. I don't know if you've ever seen Jason X.
I'm aware of it. I
Um,
don't think I ever watched it.
Boy, oh boy,
You don't need to.
they leaned into that.
It
just garbage sci-fi trope as hard as they could.
It looked like the garbage like sci-fi syndicated series from like things that were happening at the same time.
Yeah, but they had like actual money for like special effects. They weren't phenomenal, but like the whole premise is for some reason Jason ends up on this ship that's like hurtling through space and is resurrected because of nanomachines.
That makes sense. Why not?
They more or less put him on a resurrection bed and were like, I don't know, he came back to life, he's killing everybody.
Beast sci-fi is so much fun though.
And then there was Leprechaun in space as well.
Leprechaun in Space was
Can't forget about that.
a lot further back in, well, not a lot further back in time. It was like late 90s.
Yeah, in the late 90s, everybody went to space because Millennium.
Yeah. I want to say,
Why is that weird?
I forget exactly when Jason X came out.
Early 2000s. I'm gonna say like 2002,
That sounds-
2003.
Sounds about right. I had a screensaver for the movie, and it scared the living hell out of my sister.
Yeah,
Because I just leave it running in the dark.
a screensaver.
All right, I don't think I'm gonna color. I think it's gonna be a black and white.
Well, that's what it gets published in, so perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it doesn't even
How
matter.
do you not know that? You ever looked at these before?
I have. I guess I forgot. I figured.
Front and back or
Sorry, I
cover?
did yell at somebody tonight.
Front and back or cover?
All right, I think it's
Yes.
done. Besides the lettering.
Are you gonna show it off, or are you gonna wait for the
For the
Well,
reveal.
it depends. I could finish the lettering pretty quick, probably.
You still got half an hour.
Yeah, so I think I could finish it.
Do it. I'm not gonna let her mind tonight.
I'm literally just gonna type in stuff.
And if you don't have any speech bubbles, you don't have to letter.
It's true.
That's how I went. Although I did do some lettering here.
Nobody talks.
I don't mind a nice silent sequence.
Neither do I, because I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I have a few of the books by the French artist there, Chabut.
Chabouté, or is it
Yes.
just Chabut? Oh, a chair,
I think-
bench.
Yeah. I have maybe it's Lighthouse. I don't know. It's the one.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
like the Lighthouse Keeper, and
I
then
read-
also the Park Bench one.
I think I read both of those. Read at Barnes and Noble. Thanks, Barnes and Noble.
Uh-huh.
Just read your book and then leave it at the cafe.
That's one where, like, I would certainly not disappointed with the purchase, but like, if I were at a Barnes and Noble, I would just do that and not feel bad at all.
Yeah, those are worthy pickups too. Like sometimes I mean I haven't been to Barnes and Noble in a long time now, but sometimes you pick up stuff to flip through it and it's just like ooh,
Yeah, glad I caught that.
this is not so good.
We're in the rare form here. One of the few places that you can still really go for physical medium. We have
Yeah.
the one other bookstore in town, but
And they've got some graphic novels.
they do. They've got a nice little spinner rack in there.
The Image Comics one.
Yeah, I was just in there actually. And I picked up Day Tripper, which is an amazing.
Yeah, and they try in there.
novel.
Although sometimes I think they just pick up stuff based on the name that's on it because they have some Neil Gaiman stuff in there that's they just like that's the licensed
they don't
Neil
have
Gaiman.
anybody that knows comics there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
hired a kid recently who knows comics.
Yeah.
The guy you were talking to the other day. So that I think
He was the
that'll
one that told me about Day Tripper because I wanted to read
be, I
that.
think that'll be good for them. That like, if they're looking to expand their graphic novel stuff now, they have somebody that kind of knows.
Yeah, because
Gosh, what's his
because
name?
they just kind of like did like from what I've seen they just did a spray of like, well this is a name and this is a book I've heard of, you know, which you know you get some good stuff in there. Like they had Infidel over there on the spinner rack for Image,
Mm-hmm.
but
Who does Infidel? Why we talk about this book all the time?
Pornsack Pinochet.
Yes. Good old porn sack.
Such an unfortunate name.
Love it.
Did you know he can't use his real name on Twitter or Instagram or anything because he gets banned?
That's annoying.
That's so that's frustrating.
I'm surprised that Emil doesn't have a good handle on the.
Well, okay, he might, but I do think the one regular who we get,
Yeah.
that's
That's
specifically his
why they-
pitch he
yeah.
made when they hired him was
Gotcha.
like, "Hey, I can talk about this stuff," and he can.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know.
I took a class with him too, actually.
Yeah.
That's even worse. You don't know his name. You met him
Oh,
before.
I barely.
Man,
It was over Zoom, so
oh boy, oh boy.
I'm just a scumbag.
Even more so because the name is listed on the Zoom, right?
Yeah, it's Zach actually.
It is Zach. That sounds
There
familiar.
you go. We got there.
Because when we were doing more virtual teaching, I know some of my students more as the icon and their name than their actual faces.
So there's an interesting aside, the world of not really the metaverse because they're gonna try and make it happen, but really, as we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
like that's kind of the direction it's all headed. And being able to identify people based on avatar more than anything else will only become more relevant as time goes on.
It's weird.
There we go. I got it. I'm done.
It is weird, but
Oh,
it
I also
also
got ink all
creates
over my
a
hand.
sort of interesting secondary market that makes no sense to me currently, but definitely exists. The graphic designers and things that essentially just doctor people's photos. Like, oh, you want like a Gucci dress for your avatar for your, job interview? Sure. Yep, we'll throw you in it. You can pay me $200 and I'll do it, and you don't have to spend $1,000 on this particular outfit.
Yeah, why not? Looking good.
Not too bad. All right.
Photoshop myself into a suit. Never wear one again.
It's all about finding the formal clothing that is like very comfortable. So that way it's like wearing comfortable clothes. We just happen to be.
I'm so bad about dressing up. Like I dread having to go to like formal events and weddings and things like that because it's just.
I don't mind dressing up.
I love
I realize I
dressing
haven't
up.
bought any new clothes in like years though. That like I've literally just worn the same thing for like the past 5 to 6 years.
You're almost to old man state. You just like settle on a decade. Like this was a decent one. I'll just stick with the clothes from this time frame till I'm 70. That's fine.
It's not a bad way to go.
It's not, and really, I always used to wonder why it happened. And now that I'm, closing in on 40, it's like, oh no, I get it. I totally get it.
Well,
I have to exert minimum effort.
I even think about like the clothes that are available too, or like how fashion trends go, and it's just like there's some modern clothing things from different stores. I'm just like, I don't like that.
Yeah,
That's not my style.
I found the kind of Levi's that I like, and because it's Levi and they'll probably never change or go out of business, I could get the same pair of jeans from now until they decide that they're only going to make 2 pairs.
That's like I bought some Lee jeans as a joke because my name is Lee, and then it was like,
you gotta talk about the Lee chicken sandwich.
and then it was like, these are very comfortable. Oh yeah, down at Coffee and Comics down there in Armory Square, Wildflowers Gallery, McCarthy Mercantile downstairs space. We had to get some lunch. We got some lunch from Oh My Darling down there, and they had the Lee chicken sandwich, which at first was amusing because again it's my name, but.
Lee chicken. I was like, you gotta order it. It's the Lee chicken sandwich.
But then we checked out the contents of that sandwich, and yeah, it was.
And so we got 2 Lee chicken because it seemed like the best lunch item they had. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, some avocado. It was like a fresh chicken breast with some avocado, some aioli. I'm not sure what else was even on there. It was just delicious. And it was like real
Sounds
chicken
good.
too. It wasn't like reconstituted chicken paste.
Yeah, it was a real sandwich.
It wasn't the Weaver chicken patty that I had when I got home.
No.
Shout out to Weaver. Thank you for being apparently the only chicken that's left in the freezer aisle at the grocery store.
Weaver chicken, the only chicken left.
Evan, the only thing you say in my comic is no.
Sure.
It's just no.
That looked good.
I did a pretty good job, huh?
Oh, I didn't say that.
LOL.
Yeah, I've lost my energy as well.
I'm finishing.
They used to have studio assistants that would erase out all the pencils.
I mean, that sounds like the right thing. So I had a long day of editing spreadsheets. So
Ooh.
I tried to regain my energy after work and relax for a little while. And, I mean, it's almost my bedtime anyway, but I felt the distinct hard wall. It's like, oh, nope, there's nothing left here. Gas tank is empty.
Oh, thank you. This is the first artwork I've included my daughter in. Aside from photoshopping the alien from Mac and Me onto Paul Sorvino's face.
Ah.
Yesterday's like, have you seen this picture of my daughter? I'm like, what are you even doing? And I was like, that's Mac and Me. He's like, yeah.
Nice.
Why?
Nice.
Why? I don't.
Well, because sometimes when you hold her and she like picks her head up and moves around, it's very like animatronic almost, or like a sloth. Just reminds me of like an awkward puppet, and she's got like those big cheeks and the big eyes that Mac and Me has. The like horribly subverted E.T. ripoff.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak my thing in here real quick, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that ink.
we'll letter that. It's kind of hard.
Did
to
you
see
ink
on-
this on the iPad?
No, just the.
Oh, you took a picture of it
Yeah.
and did
And
the
I added
borders.
borders.
It looks pretty good, I think. I love the animation of the person talking. That's great. Are you gonna add in speech bubbles later? You
I
think?
am. I'm just not gonna do it tonight.
Yeah, that's
I'm
all right.
done.
That's all right. Because I think it works without it.
The politician
Come on.
BSing his constituents, telling them all the great things that are going on, and then you've got the man in the VR goggles stuck in the tube, stuck in the Matrix.
It's in the Matrix.
Alex, is PAX still on?
PAX is still on. I just looked at the countdown timer the other day to make sure that I have to put in time soon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm debating on how I want to do it. So I don't want to take like 2 full weeks off for PAX. That's just,
Too much.
it is too much. I have the same problem that a number of people have, where if I just take a bunch of time off with not enough to do, I just get really bored. Because I think we're leaving on like I don't know,
On a jet plane?
like a Thursday or a Friday maybe. I think we have Friday, Saturday passes. I don't even remember.
Mhm.
Joe and I have achieved an amount of like old man status to like want to go to conventions and like do those things, but the thought of the 4-day pass
Oh yeah.
has kind of dwindled to a point where it's like, I don't know, like
Even 2 days is
like
like.
maybe we go to like one day, check out everything that we want to see, buy whatever so they don't run out the following day when it's real hectic. Go there for the swampy crowd because it's a fun experience just because. Check out whatever special thing, then like grab lunch in the city.
The good news is that
Oh,
We
maybe
have-
we're going in Thursday.
you've got Randy to visit. I've got my brother to visit. So like, I feel like I could fill up a weekend just checking in with people, even if it would be personally, even if I get bored at the convention, which I've never really done a convention.
There's a
I haven't
lot
done a
to
real
do,
one, like
and
except for TCAF.
the thing
that
that I
count?
would recommend the most is, unless you're really dying to like go stand in lines for games, or like you can go demo
Cool.
tabletop games, which is always fun. It's always a blast. There's always people there like showing off new stuff that maybe you'll never get to play, or maybe it's something that like you had so much fun that you want to get copies for the comic shop. I like to go to panels. Like sometimes there's some really interesting speakers. They do have various events now. Like there's video game tournaments going on, and we'll see if things like the retro arcade come back. That was always a go-to for me. If I got like bored on the floor, I just like go to the place that had like 20 arcade cabinets that you could play for free. Oh, I'm gonna go play some Terminator 2.
He's showing me Mac and Me.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
just said that to me.
$4,000 for a Ninja Turtles arcade game
Oh,
larger
God.
than life.
Movies. There's a big advertisement for McDonald's in that movie. So weird.
For which thing?
Mac and Me.
$3,000.
There's like, and it's like
Maybe.
the kids start dancing. It's like
yeah.
Yeah.
the weirdest thing ever.
I can't find the next
They
one.
needed money to finish the movie.
Yeah.
That's what I really want.
X-Men Arcade would make the money back.
Oh my god, amazing.
The Ninja Turtles one
They would do it too.
was pretty nice.
It could.
I think X-Men's a stronger.
Like Ninja Turtles, it's like yes. X-Men,
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
yes.
Like you almost would get people that would, because you're a central enough location, come to play the arcade cabinet. Much like how when they had the X-Men arcade at the movie theater, there were people who definitely would like go watch a movie and then spend $5 on X-Men. And it's just fun to have in the store because you can play it as much as you want, whenever you want.
Lucas, how you doing?
Good.
You done?
You?
It's getting pretty close. Yeah, all right, done. Done.
8:49.
I was gonna say, let's if we're feeling good, we want to call it a night.
I want to send this to him too. Yeah. real quick. That way it's locked.
That's
and
all good.
loaded.
I feel like
It's Ben. The comic shop makes a podcast, does a comic. The comic shop does a podcast, makes a comic 3.
it's like a turducken.
What does it actually say for the stream? It's
Is it Comic Shop Makes a Comic 3? Maybe?
I think so.
This has been the comic shop does a podcast, makes a comic 3.
I'm getting better at because I've done a few of these events now where you draw a page. I'm getting better at filling up most of the time, but not like getting crazy at the end.
Sure.
Like pacing it
All right.
just right.
What do we think?
Nice.
It's a comic.
Yeah, and you made it.
It's a masterpiece, I think. All right. All right. Should we end it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you wanna take us home, Mr. Zeeley?
You have been participating in and or watching and or observing
Now traumatized from.
and or watching this later. This is the Comic Shop does a podcast while making a comic, part 3. I am Papa Lee.
I am?
I am Lucas Brewer.
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody.
Godspeed.
We're here with Alex Dexter.
Oh,
Have a
with
good night,
Alex
everybody.
Dexter. I'm gonna close the book.